Welcome back to the ALGS, but I got a little more emphasis on those letters today because today is our regional finals, which means 12 teams will book their tickets to Mannheim, Germany, across the pond to fight for $1 million and the elusive, exclusive glory to call themselves a champion. Who will take it? And that's right, I didn't say get it. Take it, because this is something that is taken and earned in Apex Legends, and we definitely have the teams who are ready for it. It's been 9 weeks to get to this moment, and now we finally will have our answers after today. It's exciting, and I hope you all are excited as well to round out your Sunday afternoon with some pro Apex action. Let's get it started. My name is Rain Day. I'll be your host alongside some amazing talent today, and of course I got to introduce them because you might have seen them in the earlier show, but let's go ahead and bring them up again. Tiff, welcome back. It's North America. This time the stories are aplenty, and we've got 12 spots that these teams are vying for.
Well, let's go ahead and find some more teams to send to Mannheim, Germany. Look, EMEA was crazy, and after that entire series, I can only imagine what is going to happen in North America. Do we go short and sweet? Do Team Falcons wrap it all up, or do we go the distance?
We went 9 games in EMEA. It was so close to jump into that 10th. And obviously, one of my good friends was there with us as well, casting the action. Vicky, Kitty, we're back here in North America. Will it go as long? Will we have the same stories? Will there be the Cinderella moment that we didn't get in EMEA, but still North America could surprise us with?
Hey, listen, I'm here to join you guys and go the entire distance. It will end in 8 games, 9 games. Nah, give us more Apex. Let it end after 10 plus more. North America, the stacked region that we know it, is here, and I cannot wait to welcome the teams that will be meeting us in Germany.
And Genome, if we bring him on more North American broadcasts, it's going to be like Not Moist and Dark Zero coming over. He's going to be North American at this point. But let's give it up to our Apex South commentator. He's going to be joining us, obviously, in Mannheim, but we're so glad to have him here as a special guest for our regional finals. Genome, North America, there's always action, always stories here to talk about. Big ones, of course, across the league.
Yeah, well, with 12 spots up for grabs, I mean, North America has it better than any other region when it comes to that. So there's going to be so many teams vying for those final spots that we get to watch today. And look, it's been a minimum of 7 games in any of the regional finals across the world thus far. Look, I don't think I see North America going any less than that.
Well, you must not be a Falcons fan, because at this point, if you were, they would be thinking, I mean, this is going to end in 3 games. We're just going to play the other 3 out just because we have to get to at least 6. You know that they are determined after a 6th place finish in their final match day before coming in here. So we'll see if that pans out. We know the expectations are high for the #1 team so far in terms of rankings in the world in the ALGS in North America. We'll see them in just a moment. And speaking of that, let's jump in to who will be participating alongside Falcons as well in this major soiree of teams and talent here as we continue to see TS Sims, Oblivion, Liquid Alienware, LG, NRG, teams who've just jumped in as well. Board, Bleed Esports already qualified. When you look at these participants, Tiff, there's just so many different teams. You might say this could be the most talented region in terms of individual players in the entire world.
Yeah, we are obviously very blessed over here in North America with some stacked teams. And granted, we get 12 slots to send them to Germany. And when you look at this, I mean, not only do the teams that you mentioned kind of stand out, but also Elevate Gaming, right? Coming into this in 15th place, 53 points. Maybe they can jump up the leaderboard. Also, got to give shouts out. I just love the name Fluffy Aimers, so W in my books.
Yeah, and they made it in. I mean, it was a good day 9 to get in here and obviously be a part of this. Fluffy Aimers are going to be joining that top 20. And if you're in the top 20, anyone can do it. And in fact, maybe that's the biggest conversation here, Vicky. Just the fact that we see 6 teams qualified, sure. But because we've got 12 slots, there's a lot more wiggle room for those bottom 8 teams who are outside of qualification to make a run to 12 and ultimately find something today that could put them into Germany, even though they're sitting out of it right now.
Yeah, leave us some for the rest of us, just trying to pick up any crumbs that are left on the ground out here. I'm looking at you, Team Falcons, but with these top 11 teams plus the regional final winner, with 12 total spots, this leaves 6 spots available for a very stacked region to claim and punch their ticket into Mannheim, Germany.
I mean, think about it. It was so difficult last time. I think we saw it was Gaming Gladiators who got 0 points, and that's why they were able to get jumped. But Cyberclats, they had to win because they needed at least 25 points to get to the bottom. Right here, you look at Temper, they're only 16 points away from the qualification zone, which would be a 4th place. So if the same thing happened with Gaming Gladiators and you see that 12th place team, well, Temper might, with a 4th or above, be able to get it. That's a different scenario. And Gino, why don't you break this down for us as well? Some hypotheticals, some most likelies, but these are just some overall expectations of what these teams need to do to secure a ticket to Mannheim.
Yeah, as you guys were mentioning, a couple of teams here, 100% locked in, will be there at LAN no matter what. That's up to about 8th spot from there on, maybe even 9th. Complexity, very, very unlikely that they would get knocked out. Not Moist, who were looking a little bit shaky, come out with a win last week and actually skyrocket their chances up. They can lock themselves in with a 5th place today. That's those numbers that you can see on the right. And as you go further down, it becomes less and less likely. So NRG right on the bubble at the moment. And Oblivion, they, from there on downwards, the only way that they can be certain that they get through to LAN is with a first.
There was actually a really good graphic. We're not showing it to you now, but basically, if you take a look at it, that's what they really need to do to guarantee it 100%. But if you want to go 75%, maybe you lean down to, you could get a 5th place, but you're not guaranteed. That's what that graphic should help inform you. Basically win, and you're in. That's the benefit of match point finals. Now, Imperial Hal leading out with Falcons as the kill leader overall. We saw Effect take home the kill lead win in EMEA. Unlucky with over 30 kills on the day, just jumped in 2nd. Will Sweet be able to have a performance like that? His teammate Zero possibly bringing it in as well. Tiff Furholst, another name, somebody Big E's been playing like a CEO raid boss here. Maybe he can jump the gun as well. Have a great day to lead TSM. But as we come back out to all 4 of us here and introduce you to the 4 box, Rain Day and Friends, as we continue it off. I heard someone say Kashira and Friends. I like the idea of that, a sitcom with Kashira. But I think we go into really more of the kind of bigger beats of today, because there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of teams who have performed well. We talked TSM Falcons secured. Another team, Tiff, that isn't secured, had some hesitation in some ways, is NRG coming into this.
Yeah, they really are. And I spent maybe like 5 hours the other day VOD reviewing not only their match day 1, but compared to their match day 8. So we're going to take a look at some of the footage from not only match day 7, but match day 8. And things ever since match day 7 have looked kind of interesting, mostly since that mid-season patch. And things that you kind of witness, what happens is these breakdowns on rotations, and it's really tough and often similar to what was occurring to Danish over in the EMEA region. And it's not necessarily one player in particular that gets caught out. It's like right there, Knock. Like, that is so unfortunate. And I know Rain Day, you spoke to Hot Sick, and they were just saying there's a lot of minor mistakes that were occurring. It overall wasn't a bad day per se, just an unlucky one. Now, I looked at some of the damage percentage in regards to an entire team. 17.87% of damage percent for the team belongs to Reptar. Fun, 39%. Knock, 42%. But the amount of damage that is taken by Knock is half of that team, almost, Rain Day. And that's just going to be very tough to navigate not only the change in legend composition throughout our entire lobby, but making sure that if we are throwing Reptar on the Seer and you're looking to anchor on some of those rotations to make sure no one's wrapping you, it's kind of one of those things that you just have to take a little bit of extra precaution and hope for.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, right? The 20th, not fantastic for a team of this caliber. NRG as well joining as an org. A lot of big tournaments out there internationally that has picked up this team as a result of, they'll be competing at. But let's just keep it to the ALGS, because it's very important to look at what does that mean. So there's this expectation now that comes in, and with that comes more pressure. How do you handle the pressure? Well, in my opinion, there's been moments where Knock and Fun and iterations of Psych, now iterations of Reptar, have not handled pressure well. And we talked to Hodsick, and he was talking about, like, this is really not about the skill. It's not about the strategy. I can help them with strategy, but where I'm lost is if we know what we're doing and we just take our eyes off the ball for a second. Metaphorically speaking, we forget, we don't pay attention, we lose somebody on an easy rotation, we forget to smoke. All of those little things that can have a bigger mental impact, Tiff, because it's not we didn't come in with the right game plan. It's not we can't do this, we don't have the talent. It's, you know what, we just didn't play the way we know we can. How do you fix that? Well, you just got to show up and be ready to go the next time you get an opportunity, which hopefully is today.
Yeah, and then you look at their match day number 8, it's 16th place, albeit a bit better, but just not the execution that I am expecting from a roster of that caliber. Now that you see kind of Knock playing alongside that Fuse instead of Bangalore, and we're still kind of waiting for, okay, look, I'm waiting for a fun FPS Pathfinder. I know you locked it in one game of Stormpoint, but I need it back. And I know, Vicky, you've got your eyes on someone else, so I gotta let you have it.
Yeah, a team that may have a little bit more leeway to talk about. You talk about some funk, maybe, Pappy? No, I'm joking. But aside from that, the LG coming through, sitting in 4th with 93 total points, getting most of their points, I believe, on World's Edge versus Stormpoint, where they got a first place finish on the Groups B and C match days. But it's about the way that this team has been able to make the adjustment that they've needed to be that consistent squad. We actually were able to speak to Sweet a little bit in a post-game interview where we were kind of asking him what his thoughts were with the different changes that were implemented into this split, such as the POI drafts, the Evil Harvesters with the Evil Shield changes that come into play with the different perks to also note. And Sweet himself said that with these POI drafts, it definitely tests the IGL on their decision making and the way that they want to take some of these POIs. And I love that thought process of really diving into the little macros and micro plays that LG really has to do to be able to stay on top. Now, obviously here, being able to see their different performances throughout these different matches with the Fuse, with the Seer, and the Bangalore, I feel like the mid-season patch has really benefited this squad a lot. And considering the fact that they have a lot of room to kind of get flexible, considering that they're at 93 points, tying that with Space Station, it's going to be interesting to see what they do today in a lobby as stacked as this. It's going to be absolutely crazy, Rain Day, to see if Sweet can actually keep carrying the momentum of this squad in terms of their mentality.
I think this is something that Sweet lives for. This is what we expect from Sweet. These How Sweet jokes earlier on last year, it wasn't a joke. They're two of the best IGLs and brains for the game. And in this situation, Sweet's taken on more. The issue they've got to solve, or resolve, might be a better way to put it, is what are their points on Stormpoint? Because 62% of their points are coming from World's Edge. If they can even that out a little bit, Vicky, I think they're going to be a lot more of a threat and obviously a lot more consistent as they head into, match day here, our regional finals, match day 10.
Yeah, the disparity is also just crazy. Even looking at Falcons and their success on Stormpoint, it really does highlight which of these teams play to their strengths, even with the introduction of the POI drafts and the ramp up, as you can see right here, from 20th and then going down to the last half of these different Pro League dates, with LG finding this first place finish not once but twice. You want to be able to find that consistency.
And of course, I think this is a team many will have their eyes on, kind of waiting for the day that LG takes the league by storm. Well, we'll see if we have to keep waiting for the world to change. A little John Mayer shout out there as we head over to Genome. You know, stylish, maybe in a different way. We've got some great players, positively famous names, seeing if they can put it together now with a new roster.
Yeah, following in the footsteps of Falcon, Moist moved over to the North American region. That was a big change for them, but they've also made another big change recently. MT, the longtime IGL and playing partner of Waltzy, moves on partway through this split, and they bring in It's Timmy. Now, this is interesting because none of the players on that team had, I think, really taken that full IGL role over before, but if you listen to their comms, it's interesting that both Pricey and Waltzy, who played under MT for such a long time, essentially learned so well from him that they were now able to go on and become IGLs in their own right. And I think that really says a lot about his style and how much they were able to take away from that. It's finally starting to come together, it looks like, for Not Moist, with a match win in their last day. Waltzy taking over that new role, and Timmy also co-IGLing and helping him out with that. I mean, you can just see Waltzy's been leading from the front. I mean, not only is he new to IGLing in one of the hardest times to IGL in this entire competitive ecosystem, but he's also putting out the most damage of anyone on the team. This guy is just absolutely dominating at the moment, and I think they're peaked at exactly the right time.
earn the MVP as well. As we look at Not Moist performance, just edging out 1 point, I believe, in terms of getting the win. And ultimately, that was huge in qualifying and securing their spot here for a chance not in regional finals only, but in the fact that they could qualify and maybe just with points make it to Mannheim. That's the impact that we're looking for, especially when we single out players. What did your individual performance do for your team? Certainly 3 of the best individual performers there on Not Moist and Gildersons. And of course, it's Timmy joining Waltzy. Fantastic stuff. Great breakdown. 3 really good teams that could win it all. But we're not the only talent that exists as a part of this ALGS Pro League. We've had 10 days so far of all the mixes and matches of our great crew here at the ALGS. So we want to let you know what they're thinking on who might take the dub.
My prediction for who will win regional finals for NA, I feel like it might be a little bit obvious, but for me, it's got to be Team Falcons.
My pick for the North American Regional Finals has to be the Falcons. My prediction for who I think is going to win the North American Regional Finals is, you guessed it, Team Falcons.
No surprises here, but my prediction for North American Regional Finals is Team Falcons.
This is one of the most uninspired predictions that I'm sure you will hear, but it is probably one of the easiest to make. And I think Team Falcons are the team who are going to be crowned your regional champions.
Specifically because of the way we've seen them bounce back from bad days. They've had days where they haven't done anything in the first 3 matches, and then in the last 3 have a better series than some of our teams do in 6 matches.
For the finals, we're starting it off on Storm Point. Team Falcons averages 15 points per game on that map. When it goes over the World's Edge, of course, they have been suffering a little bit, but with first pick, they were able to secure themselves Skyhook West.
With match point coming into the equation, having arguably the best POI in the game, I really think it's going to make a difference, and I'm expecting them to come out on top.
This should be a team that is shaping up to start their dynasty here in North America. Now, granted, they look a little bit weaker when it comes to World's Edge, but overall, they are still better than over half of the rosters we see.
And I think they have separated themselves from a pack which has been historically one of the most competitive. So I think Falcons take it. I think they're not just the favourites here. I think they're probably the favourites going into the Split 2 playoffs in Germany as well. So best of luck to everyone who's competing, but Falcons are my pick.
I'm kind of nervous saying this, genuinely, but I've gotten hate for predicting Sweet in the past. I've also gotten hate for not predicting Sweet in the past, and I just can't stay away from it. I'm going with Sweet again. I'm going with Luminosity today for the North American Regional Finals.
I mean, Dia, are you crazy? What are you? I'm just kidding. He said he got hate for it either way. I was going to give him a little shade. All jokes aside, you know, it's awesome to make a prediction. We all know it is talent. Sometimes you feel like the smartest person in the world, and sometimes your Twitter mentions are terrible for a little while. And either way, you just got to put yourself out there. And we know you are putting yourself out there for your favorite team as well. That's part of the great stories we'll be highlighting as we jump into game. But before we do so, if you want to follow along with all of the 4 or 5 teams we've kind of highlighted at the top of the show, well, check out FACEIT Watch. Might be an easier time for you to do it because this is a great way for you to get all the audio, the movements, the rotations of the teams that you care about, and do it in a way that makes it feel like it's yours. The ALGS is such a flexible place. So many teams, so many different players, and so many different styles to the team compositions. Why not be flexible while you watch it as well? Throw up that map feed, throw up the team that you're interested in, and see how they perform in the most important day of Split 2. Regional finals coming up in just a moment. And let's set the stakes one more time before we toss it over, because this is a day that we will decide a big step in a lot of players' careers, going to Germany. That is huge. Some have never played at LAN before, some trying to make their first, some trying to not be left off after having made all of them. And of course, Falcons, the super team. They've risked it all. They've destroyed what many thought were dynasties and Dark Zero and TSM, and it's all for this type of moment, match point, to win. Nothing else will be satisfying for them, so we'll see if they can get the job done. Let's head over because game 1 is about to begin, and for it, we've got Vicky and Gino.
Thank you so much, Rinde. Genome, the stakes have been highlighted. Falcons, will they take the dub here in the regional finals? You heard the comms when they finished in 6th place in the last match day, and they were not happy. They literally could just go negative points, and they will still finish in today's region in 1st place. That's to put into perspective how insane of a team Team Falcons actually is.
Is that part of the rules? Like, is there something they can do that would give them negative points? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. No, you're right. And this is something about why they're so good, and because they keep pushing themselves, right? Like anything apart from first, it feels like a loss from them, and they will just punish themselves if they don't meet that bar.
Yeah, and there's a different type of ruling that we have for our regional finals. For those of you guys who are new to match point format, so that way you know we do swap maps after every 2 games. The first team to hit 50 points will then be qualified into match points. But after they reach those 50 points in the next game, separating them from the game that they got 50 points, and then so on, they have to win a game to be crowned the winners of our regional finals within North America. So right now, it's about getting the dub on top of the kill-heavy games that you could find yourself in. And of course, since we are starting off on Storm Point, we know what to expect from a heavy-ended squad, Chino.
Yeah, now for anyone who wasn't here when we explained this for the EMEA part of the draft, Vicky, the draft has changed from the regular season to the regional finals. This is a seeded draft. That means if you came first in Pro League up to this point, which was the Falcons, you get pick number 1, and you also get pick number 21, as opposed to the snake draft that we saw throughout the season. If you got pick 1, you got pick 40. That was a lot more even. This is deliberately designed to reward the teams who have done a good job so far.
And it's nice to highlight, with that being a change here for some of our teams in picking their POI preference, some teams may feel more inclined to pick a POI that they have advantage on a map that they may not do so hot. That's why, with Falcons being in that #1 pick for World's Edge, they've opted to go to SkyWest, where they find more of their success on Storm Point. So why try to prioritize that here as we take a look at our second page of where our squads are going to be landing? TSM landing over by Wall. We've been having a pretty big diversity of circle pools in EMEA, hoping to see the same case here going into North America.
Yeah, nothing, incredibly surprising here, though we have had a couple of surprise contests coming out in EMEA. Will we see that again here, Vicky? Teams like Aurora going at people in Launchpad from Devastated Coast. There's definitely some plays that can be made with this POI draft system that we haven't seen just yet.
Cannot wait. Game number 1 here for our regional finals with the North America. Let's get started. Storm Point always to start off the action with us, as we get to take a look first at Moist landing over by Cenote Cave, and not Moist, obviously, with Timmy being over to the side, over by Spider Cave. Just going to be able to get a little bit more of the boost on the Evo shield, but also all the extra loot that the spiders provide.
Man, I love that little cool shot of the spiders coming out of the eggs as well, man. Our observers have been killing it today. Big shout out to Warhawk, by the way. His birthday today has been absolutely destroying it for both ALGS on here on the main channel and over at Longshot, being an observer for us. So, look, awesome that he is back and giving us these amazing shots that we've seen all the way through the EMEA finals, and I'm sure we'll deliver again here in NA. No early action just yet. You can see TSM actually looking up, firing a couple of shots. I think that maybe that was at Fluffy Aimers, who are peering down the hill there from Zeus Station, but this ring does look reminiscent of one of the ones we had in our previous match point finals, and potentially heading somewhere towards Launchpad.
Ooh, all right. A little slight different, right? I was hoping I didn't jinx it out here. Okay, we didn't completely jinx it here, as Flat landing over by Pylon, already looking to see where they want to go. Evac Tower for Evac Tower, looking at C9 and Flat on top of it. But you can also expect a POI like Jurassic to get heated very quick with the teams who are looking to get a rotate in, and to also prioritize any beacon information, whether it be the ring console or the survey beacon, as we now tune into Complexity. Said no one hand. Talk about some good loot already off the rip on their quick rotate.
Yeah, Complexity sitting in that main building here within Launchpad. This is a solid little spot. Couple other teams already around. Pioneers are here. SSG quickly rotating in as well. Weave, however, playing a little further down towards the Devastated Coast bridge, where we did see the very final game of our European region.
Getting a little sense of deja vu here, Genome, as we see more teams making their appearance. Oh, hello, that is not the surprise you want. Nano just jumping right on top of KCP. He manages to get away as Flat is already looking to coexist on the low ground of Launchpad. But talk about some quick rotates from a lot of our squads. It wasn't just Complexity moving in from Stormcatcher. We see KCP, Flat, Weave, Space Station, and LG in the distance on this circle pool.
Yeah, as you mentioned, quite a few already within there. The teams who are playing for the long game or playing for the late rotate, as it were, Fluffy Aimers, Elevate, Not Moist, sitting all the way over in Barrow, and Liquid Alienware also nearby to them. But Flat is setting up down here. They don't have Watson. They've got Catalyst. I would say that Watson is a far superior controller class character if you are occupying that particular space. But look, Catalyst does give you some options if we get a weird pull and they need to make a shift over to a different part of the map.
It's gonna be interesting here with the different legend compositions that we've also been exposed to within North America, playing it a lot more safe with the amount of fuses that we have here, the Seer, Bangalore, then you add in a staple with either the Pathfinder, as we currently see right now with Temper, our team that was sitting overall in the bottom end of the overall standings originally before going into today, making it into our regional final lobby. They had 45 points on top of NGNL to make it here, and Team Falcons are on their tail as they rotate here through Jurassic. It was what was to be expected, as Hal does get pinged by a Sentinel in the distance.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense that Falcons would find themselves here. I mean, if you're looking for a POI that has both a survey beacon and a ring console just outside where the zone is pulling, that's where you should expect to see a team like Falcons, right? Because they're going to wait for this round one ring to close, and then they are going to pop as many of those objectives as they can to try and give them direction in the game, to try and give them, you know, a sneak peek into the future, where everyone is, where they should be going next, and you need those objectives, those consoles and survey beacons to be able to do that.
And that's with them coming out of Checkpoint North, where there was a ring console and survey beacon. So with the quickness, they've already rotated. Oh, that is a trident. They get the crack, but they don't get the follow-up just yet. They managed to get away. The smoke nades from the Bangalore and the opposition is able to safely reset. I believe that is board on the other side. Yes, it is. And look at them closing the distance. Team Falcons already out for blood.
They are. There was so much damage done to them. Oh my god, they even managed to grab the down there with the Arc Star. Not sure if that was on the Trident itself. If so, very good spot there by Hal.
He was able to catch him before he was actually trying to rotate back away. They were trying to restabilize out of the Trident, and then saw Team Falcons completely aping them, and then they inked themselves and put down the catwall just to get away and out of their line of sight. Board literally running for their lives, and while Falcons chase them down, I believe there is a beacon right here that they could work off of. They even already have that next circle pool information, so just trying to deny that from other teams that want to play by the edge of the circle.
So Board does get away, and Team Falcon, you know, look, they lost access to those objectives we were talking about down in Jurassic, but there is a survey beacon over here in the mid-map area. So now with them being able to take down one of those members, that clears it out a little bit for them, and should be able to get that info soon. TSM, of course, with their leader having been unceremoniously stolen from them at the start of the split, have very much been trying to make a new identity for themselves with the addition of Zapdo. They sit very much on the edge of that next ring now. This is a decent spot here, not within Launchpad itself where the ring seems to be headed, but if it does pull back a little bit maybe to one of the fingers, you know, that spot they're in actually pretty solid.
Yeah, at least holding the edge right here, right? It could be a little scary sometimes if you aren't by the rocks to get you out of the line of sight of the teams that would be coming in from the north, like Yup and Oblivion, especially if you go in for an early rotate like this. But you'll get out of a lot of the action that is going to be inevitable if this continuously pulls towards those fingers, like you mentioned, Genome. Then you know it's going to be a bloodbath for the squads that have to funnel outside of that building that they're coexisting over by Launchpad.
Yeah, because there's so many teams over there, right? Like, it's going to be extremely hard for anyone to be pulling up into that sort of area. A nice little upgrade to level 3 armors for Yanya and Nizel there for TL. That's Temper on the southern side of them. They don't really know what to do at this point because they're getting held out from Pylon by Moist. They're getting locked into Jurassic by Liquid. This is a tough spot for Temper to play and make this next ring.
You know what they want here too, with what Liquid just passed by that ring console. There was an Evil Harvester there on top of it all, and Falcons still finding themselves in a fight, but this time with a different team. It's going to be Elevate on the other side of these buildings. Gets the crack immediately, double crack onto Elevate's side as Falcons want to capitalize here. Sending out the Seer Tactical just to get even more information with the heartbeat too. Lacking a little bit on ammo, and while they do try to take this isolated fight, they're not really worried about a team coming into third party. And Evac Tower was called in earlier to combine with the Fuse Motherload. Look at the vision that they have. I mean, if the Motherload wasn't enough, Genome, I mean, the exhibit from the Seer definitely is.
Yeah, look, I really hope Hal picked up that ultimate accelerant on the ground. I mean, I wouldn't be the first person to, like, lose my mind over him, like, not picking up some ammo or something. We see it pinged there. Either way, it's been interesting to watch them work out who needs to be on what legend coming into this very different legend meta that we've seen recently, Vicky. They've been trialing everyone on lots of different things. It's been hard because, like, Jen has such a great legend pool. Hal, not so much. And Zero is just so good on Bang, but it seems like he often wants to try out some of the more aggro characters, gets involved with, like, gets involved on the Fuse, but they have gone back to what's worked in the past, which is Zero. Definitely one of the best Bangalores in the world, making so much sense for this team.
Does take a bit of damage, but he was able to pop the shield bat in time. I like how you give a breakdown of what we could expect, and I love this overview because there is a third party in the distance. Fluffy Aimers, hearing this fight, have now managed to make their way over to show their presence. Team Falcons, knowing that this fight has been going on for quite some time, they have to look to the side, but Zero now looking to the other side of the door. No. Lose out on his shields heavily. Jen cannot get that knock. Instead, they wrap around Team Falcons. He tries to get the next knock. Temper get eliminated in your feeds, but this fight is still going on for a while Fluffy Aimers make their presence.
Oh no, and Furia, they may be looking to come up the zip from below here and be a part of this fight as well. We see Liquid, they go down to Moist. That was way over in Jurassic, but Falcons for the moment look to be resetting.
Fluffy Aimers. Opposite of Fluffy, something you don't want to deal with. The fact that Team Falcons was able to get that res, they're looking to reset. Nobody is trying to overextend. Furia wanted to see what was happening here, what they were missing out on, but they also don't want to give up that low ground building that will lead into Launchpad. While Fluffy Aimers are holding this entire north side of the circle, Elevate have managed to stay alive, although as a solo, they still were able to stay alive for now.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons have got the reset here. This is bad news for everyone else, I'm not going to lie. Furia made a good decision to stay down the bottom. The ring is pulling to the back of Launchpad. That means that is a primo spot to have, but at some point, they probably will have to deal with Falcons jumping on their head.
Space Station 2 taking chunks out of this team over by the south side of this zone. It's going to be Weave who are meeting them, but they're neither of these squads in that circle. You can see that circle pull on your top left screen in the next 30 seconds. Phony looking here, trying to help them out. Sees that he's incredibly low over to the left side while Koi takes a different off angle. This is an isolated fight, so they're not worried here for the third party.
Oh, like a little bit worried about the Motherload ahead of them here, just trying to spray bullets and the hope that someone picks them at the wrong time. Zainu and Koiful have been such a devastating 1-2 punch for SSG this season. Absolutely one of the scariest combos in ALGS right now.
It really is, and individually too, as players are a very scary duo here to really work with, and now they've cleared that south side of the map, knowing that they're going to be approaching Launchpad, isolated, passing that Evil Harvester, while more squads out in the distance. I'm looking at Moist currently taking the evac tower, seeing where they may find some space, because right in front of them, it's Oblivion up. So this is a great move, but where do you land when TSM was holding that choke that we saw originally by the water?
Yeah, I wondered if maybe they'd go for the tunnel, but they actually find this building right on the edge here and contribute to Native going down. I think that's 2 out of the 3 at the least down for those guys. Oblivion sitting in the building right next to Moist.
Look at this, the catwall, the Seer ult, a team in the distance looking to get involved. It's gonna be Board. Elevate still alive as a solo, as you saw on the outskirts. Not Moist here. Looking on both angles, and with the catwall, you know that they were able to take advantage on trying to rotate on the other side of this building. It is Oblivion looking to try to follow up within this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think last time the Seer was in the meta, you could actually track the footsteps through the catwall, through the Dark Veil, but you can't anymore, so they have to wait for that to go down before getting that information. They are pressed upon inside this building, and TSM are also looking for this. They come in. Surely Moist can't repel this as well.
And the exhibit here too, just the way they know where everybody is. Getting onto the other side for Holst though. Wow! Board is still looking at them, and TSM had no idea the third party was around the corner.
That was such a crazy clip onto Verhulst there. Of all people, not a player that overextends too often. For him to go down that early in the fight, you know they're hitting their shots.
And you know that TSM have now noted that Board are right there next to Not Moist. If they're going to commit, now is the time with 30 seconds left before that next zone closes in. They want to be able to try to get as many points as possible to give them the elevation in the overall standing to get to that match point. But they've lost out on Zap after they've eliminated Not Moist.
Yeah, Timmy did his best, but with only the knockdown shields to play, he can't take on all three of TSM. They'll walk away with the loot. They've got 15 seconds to use that and get a little bit further out, further afield. We've got some other teams moving further into Launchpad. Let's listen to TSM and see how they make their move towards it.
Yeah, we need to kill all left here.
I'm just walking up.
I think we look for rocks.
They're walking in the tunnel right here.
I'm in heaven.
We can maybe go to the right dock.
They're going through left tunnel, boys.
We can run along this right dock here.
Reposition there.
Yeah, we need to play for the corner. We need to play for the corner here. Right?
Yep.
It's just you guys. Team left tunnel, Evan. Look for left tunnel, please.
Yeah, looking.
From fucking beach.
We're getting shot from height.
Just looking ahead, guys. Run up the dock. Run up the dock.
We need to go up dock. See if
Yeah,
we're safe.
team corner.
Are we safe in the corner?
We're not really safe here. No, I'm safe.
We need to go over. We need to go over in a second.
Go to the left. Come to me.
I got Sir Cube.
The rocket can kill us here.
Peek it above!
Yeah, we can't do anything. Oh, me, safe.
Yep.
I'm dead.
Bang, guys.
Someone knocked down.
Oh my god, we need a new zone so hard.
The split in communication, you can hear the desperation as they're trying to find corners to avoid the bombardment of nades, as KCP, within their advantage of their own POI in Northpad, have height over them on the catwalk. The NRG now has swooped in. Reptar, the last one alive, and it's just a matter of time before he meets TSM back in the lobby. But KCP, do they want to overextend on this? Because right behind them, waiting for them, is another team, only leaving Jet alive. Can he clutch this out over to the side? LG get eliminated. The hip fire shots from the 30-30 is just enough with literally 1 pixel of health.
Oh my lordy. What is the siren song of this corner? Because so many teams have just piled in there and then immediately lost their lives. I mean, TSM go down, NRG lose their lives trying to take them, and then KCP, you saw how close they were as well. Board just nipping around the corner to take a look at all the madness. And we should note, Fluffy Aimers, they're sitting down the bottom here, but to the north of them, Vicky, Team Falcons. They took that building away from Furia, coexisted for a little bit of time with them there, but now they have full dominion over what is essentially Godspot coming into this final circle.
And away from a lot of that chaos too, when the safety of that building uncontested is a crazy statement to make for this first game of our regional final. Space Station, they heard the res going off, now looking to get in position, but they still have blue evos here at this point. They've lost out on Phony. You get the evo shield swap, but with only 2 left alive for Space Station, KCP meet their demise. They're also going down here back to the lobby.
SSG in round 5. Blue armors, not two things you want to hear together, and Sign, you can't make it out. They will drop down as I think it was the 7th squad there. And everyone else Probably just going to try and barrel into a tiny little corner in the edge of the building that will still be in the end of this next zone. Meanwhile, Fluffy Aim is still sitting over there in the donut area, and Team Falcons have so much of the map to themselves in the building. We haven't even had to look at them yet because yeah, they're just so far away from everyone else. You can see all the way to the left of your screen.
The beautiful painting that the Watson fences are also highlighting for us too. While there is 3 squads inside of this launch pad building, Fluffy Aimers on the outskirts, and they're looking at Falcons who are actually overextending. Complexity being on the high ground, C9 sharing that space right below them, but Falcons are out for blood. They do not want to overextend. I like the call just to back away, maybe just trying to bait out any last minute ults before this final circle closes in the next 20 seconds.
Finally getting a look at the Falcons' position as they've got everything going their way. The positioning, the armors, turbos, all lit up here. And the knuckle clusters are coming in to make everyone else's life hell. Imperial Hal hits them. He's burning them with the thermite nades, and they've only got a Dark Veil to save themselves.
Dark Veil coming up, and you already know Falcons is backing away here. Dark Veil for Dark Veil, though, on the bottom. Complexity are shooting down at C9. Nowhere to run as they get sent back to the lobby. 4 squads left, and Team Falcons are not even in the fray. It is Falcons, Complexity, Bleed, and Fluffy Aimers opposite sides of Falcons.
As we noted in the kill leading graphic before, Monsoon is right up there. This guy's been on a tear so far this year. But can he stand against the might of the Falcons while Bleed and Fluffy Aimers go at it over in the donut?
And it's be able to say Fluffy Aimers. Can't be scared about that one, but you could absolutely be scared if they're going to wrap up behind you. If you're Bleed in this case, Falcons going to be able to sandwich them on the other side. Drop for drop, though. They get 2 nuts. Falcons are dominating. 12 total kills for this team right now, just to open up this first game of our match point finals.
What an insane first game. They had that rough moment in the mid game, but everything from then on just looks so smooth.
Oh, this is crazy, but they lose out on Jen. Bleed get eliminated, and Fluffy Aimers at the perfect time. They come in for the third party. They were focused on Bleed. Look how low they were. It was really only Press that is up, alive, and healthy, and they take care of Team Falcons for game 1 to take the dub.
Only a couple of kills there for Fluffy Aimers. You can see 4, I think it was, for them. And, I mean, yeah, I think even though Falcons might have come second there, I think they're probably going to walk away with the lion's share of the points, Vicky, just because they never let a kill go begging, do they? I mean, they are always just as aggro as they need to be. You know, like every time they just want to maximize their points, and they have come out of the gates just roaring here.
And there's a different approach when it comes to regional finals and a match point day, right? Because although, sure, Fluffy Aimers got the dub, it's 12 extra points on top of the 4 KP that we saw them get. But on the other hand, when you're Team Falcons and you're getting, what, 14, 15 kills for that first game, it's not about getting the dub that's the most important in this point of the day. It's about getting to match point first and then proceeding to get the dub, which we know that Team Falcons has no issue when it comes to racking up KP.
Yeah, and they've got no issue when it comes to winning match point series either, do they? I mean, just ice in the veins. I'd love to see the stats at some point, but, you know, Zero potentially, I would say, has some of the most match point series wins across LAN and regional finals out of anyone in the ALGS.
Look at this, 15 KP, double-digit KP to make a statement for your opening game. Fluffy Aimers still take the dub, but they don't get as many points as you could see with Falcons getting that second place finish and the KP that they needed. But even looking all the way down, right, highlighting teams like Complexity, who also were able to get 5 KP, KCP in a bit of a rut with their 6 KP when that was their POI before they dropped down. They took a bit of damage here to win that fight, but then it was really when the circle shifted north of Launchpad where we saw a lot of these teams fizzle out.
I mean, Fluffy Aimers, you got to remember, they were up there at the top when, you know, all that stuff was going on with Falcons above, but they still managed to come out and win. LG pick up a couple of points there. TSM and Moist with some of those mid-game battles will pick up a few points, and they'll be happy with 4 and 5. Honestly, considering the difficulty of the game they just played, that's enough to keep them ticking along.
We also saw earlier on in that game, Fluffy Aimers trying to fight for that Evo Harvester closer to a wall by TSM. So immediately after that, they just went for a quick rotate. But I'm looking at teams like Liquid Alienware, a team that we know needs to find their stride of momentum to keep that consistency, unfortunately being the second team to go down in this lobby, but finishing off with 3 KP. We'll take a look at the comparison of stats for our two squads here at the very end. Fluffy Aimers playing a lot more patiently with the Watson versus Team Falcons, who are just out for blood. 15 KP, so that way they can start bridging that gap of overall points between themselves and the rest of this lobby.
I'm sorry, what?
Look at
7,000 damage in the first game? I don't know, Vicky. That is abominable. I mean, like, people coming out being like, oh man, they had like a shaky week or two there coming into regional finals. Are you guys kidding yourselves? Like, have you not seen every time that there is something on the line, these guys turn up?
It's actually crazy. It is so crazy to see this right now. 7.1k damage. But honestly, hashtag get Fluffy, getting a word that that's going to be their official hashtag out here for Fluffy Aimers. But that is the way to play when you're trying to play for final circle positioning and you're rocking the Watson composition nonetheless. Great start here for Team Falcons. Fluffy Aimers getting that dub on top of it on Storm Point.
I'm getting Fluffy.
Oh, right? Oh my goodness. That is actually the perfect description of what we just witnessed from Fluffy Aimers. We got to see some more of that action going into game number 2 on Storm Point on the other side of this break.
Alienware is the official PC and monitor partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Apex Legends Global Series. This time, it's the North America Regional Finals. And Genome, I'm stealing you away from this one. You guys coined that hashtag Get Fluffy, and I kind of love it. I kind of love it.
Yeah, look, I get a lot of plushies in the back there somewhere. Maybe I'll get them out later, but I am definitely up for getting Fluffy.
Yeah, okay, well, let's go ahead and bring up some of those match highlights while you work on that, right? I'll wait for you to go grab your plushies. But as you kind of look back to this end game situation here, Falcons have isolated themselves out onto the western side. And the moment they took that building from Furia, I was like, oh my God, okay, I think Falcons are going to win this. And they start to get really mixy here, right? That's where Fluffy Aimers kind of sandwiches bleed. And then I'm like, okay, maybe it doesn't actually happen, Gino.
Yeah, it was a tough one to play out, but I think when you look at the amount of KP that Falcons ended up with, they didn't necessarily have to play for the win though, right? Like they were kind of playing to maximize points, whether that was KP or placement.
And I think that's a very smart strategy considering that the Falcons are known for getting the majority of their points on Storm Point. 70% plus of the points that they accumulate throughout an entire series are attributed to Storm points. So if you're going to be kicking things off with a large majority of that 50-point threshold already being maintained, and Fluffy Aimers having a magnificent start to that, picking up the win and playing it to perfection, but getting, you know, a decent accumulation of points, now I just look for Team Falcons to do the same thing in match number 2.
Yeah, and you know, they've done it typically from POIs that are not that crash hot, right? Like Devastated Coast, they had that insane match day comeback, and now they're trying to do it from Checkpoint, which is like arguably a little bit better, but as we've been talking about, the stats sort of say that it might not even matter that much.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think anyone's won a single map on Stormpoint from Checkpoint. You talk about Devastated Coast, that's got an 11% win rate, 3 number wins, but maybe you're looking at this and you're like, I think I could beat the Falcons. I think I want to take a chance at Fluffy Aimers. Okay, well, maybe try your hand at Challenger Circuit first. We have Challenger Circuit number 3. That weekend's going to be July 20th through 22nd, and it has that registration close date of July 17th. I talked about it earlier on Amiya, and I was like, Genome and I, we're gonna make a team, and then I realized he's kind of down south over there in APAC, and that probably wouldn't be too good on the ping or even allowed. So it's not gonna happen, I guess.
Hey, Jen Burton was farming North America, you know, ranking up in Pred when he was still living in Australia. I can do it too.
Okay, yeah, because Genome and Jen Burton, very close.
We both start with G.
Maybe not quite the same, but you know, if you can shoot like Jen Burton, I'll draft you on my team, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite at that level yet.
There's hope. There is hope, and there's so hope for a lot of our teams that are on the fringe. This team in particular that won match number 1, they just made it into the regional finals, coming in 18th place. One of our teams that are in that must-win scenario, and that is one of the things that I get so excited about when it comes to match point, is that it doesn't matter how many points you come into the day with, so long as you're the last one standing after you meet that win condition threshold, which honestly, if you're kicking things off with 16 points in map number 1, this is a solid start for them, and from Zeus Station you're gonna have a lot of good loot.
I mean, I genuinely thought we were gonna have it in our first series today. I mean, Aurora and Cybercats were both looking so good. I thought we were gonna get one of those Cinderella stories, because as we keep mentioning, it's so rare to see a team outside of the qualification bubble actually pick up a match point series in the lobbies that are the hardest that you will get all Pro League long.
Okay, well, you pop the circle here and you immediately see Checkpoint is involved in this. Now, this is going to be one of the most fickle zones, Genome, and I want to sit here for just a second, because yes, Checkpoint, that ring console, so they're going to see this zone here. But what's going to be really interesting is, does this one commit to the gravity cannon that's on the outskirts of Cedo Station? Because you know how sometimes we get that big pullback to Cedo since the large amount of playable space of that POI is included?
Yeah, definitely a couple of options when we're looking at the Cedo Station area in terms of where that ring can pull, and what makes for a good place to play from. There's, yeah, as you say, you know, gravity cannon, the little buildings across the bridge, this one that we're seeing right here, that LG are looking at. They want to take it away from their opponents, because you just get so much, you know, like the lanes of fire are so good from this area that you really get to look in on all of those other teams that are bunkering together, and can be quite tough to play from the smaller buildings within Cedo Station.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting. We've already seen multiple teams kind of come this way, Luminosity being one of them, and they're actually going to pop that dark veil to rotate back up the hill. It seems like this is where they're going to make their stand. Not only was it gonna be tough for them to siege that distance knowing that other teams are moving into Cedo, but you can kind of regain here and maybe look to gatekeep any teams that go for that wrap either from Mill or through that area low of Cenote Cave. But a team that's taking that rotation and they're going towards Pylon, it's gonna be Space Station. I would love to drop into a listen with that.
Launch is still doing their fucking spiders.
You can also just fucking kill Weave if you want.
I'm gonna go grab that pack too. Can you just start looking southwest again?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit scan real quick.
I'm just fucking down there looking for Havoc.
Multiple teams here. Two teams still barometer. One team launch.
Grab the pack. Gold Nemi.
I'll grab it. And then they have Nemi fucking Volt. We can look-key rat the fuck out of Weave and just kill them when they're... Alright.
I'm down to just rat it, bro.
I'm down.
We should probably get tight. They're probably just gonna zip tight.
Also might go barrel. Because they don't have beacon. Oh no, they have beacon there. Might go barrel side.
Yeah, there's like hella shit barometer side. Just two juicers in barometer, bro. What?
KCP's also gonna come from behind us.
Get up here.
You know, Genome, I'm sitting here listening to this entire conversation. I was like, this is pretty generic. Like, we are just locked. We're like just being so strategic. 2 here, 1 there. I got a gold Nemi. Let's go rat weave. And you know what? I'm down for it.
Looks like Weave have got some problems of their own at the moment. However, Tiff, they're about to run into Liquid Alienware, or maybe Liquid Alienware are running into them. You can see Yanya on the floor already. He's hit the deck, and Nizel and Jaguar is I don't know, hitting the gritty. Is that? No, that's like a celebratory thing, right? I don't know.
Sure, I actually don't know how to hit the gritty, and if you can, like, that's amazing. I love that for you, but I don't think SSG is actually going to be ratting Weave. So when you did listen into their comms, they called out 2 teams in Barometer. Liquid Alienware and Not Moist were those teams in Barrow. However, Liquid looks for a wrap towards Weave and gets pretty much pieced apart. You called it. 2 of them dropped. Now we're just down to a res, and I believe only one of them, unless they got a full reset, but I think one got full. Now you see Niazul and Jaguar is there. So they're going to be looking for the potential banner and then maybe a reset. However, Not Moist, off that rotation out of Barrow, are wrapping up towards Mill where that ring console is, so they're going to make their presence known.
Yeah, I mean, they did their hard work last week, right? As you can see, pressure is off Moist today. They don't need a huge day. They can't have a Gaming Gladiators type day, though. If they pull up with a 20th, they may not make it. But here they're going to go in up against the duo of Board, and Elevate Gaming are on the other side as well. Board potentially even going into the ring because they just want to get as far away from the other teams as they possibly can. Moist kind of doing the same, actually, not willing to keep going up and trying their luck against Elevate Gaming, which surprises me a little bit.
It is kind of interesting, but as it continuously pulls, it's going to be one of those things that you really want to play for that ring 3, or if you're Weave, you just want to play for Liquid Alienware. You want to finish exactly what you started, but if we're already throwing out the mother load, we've got to use a zip line to kind of retreat away, and you start finding yourself in these open engagements across the water, realizing that the majority of players, not only do they have the Nemesis, it's a Hemlock, something that's going to excel in that mid-range, and even though you think it's going to be solid, well, maybe it's best to play for a little bit of longevity here, knowing that you've only racked up 1 point thus far, and it was one of the Liquid Alienware boys.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a 3v2, Tiff. Surely you just go in there and finish your meal, right?
Surely. Sometimes you start looking at dessert, though, Genome, and dessert, you gotta save room for it.
Okay, well, it looks like Liquid had to burn quite a few ultimates to get them to back off, so certainly a savvy use of those, but you know, that's a couple of minutes now where they are extremely vulnerable as a duo with reduced utility. They don't want to run into the back of SSG, who are over there in Jurassic ahead of them. But moving to where most of the action's gonna be happening here in our game 2, we got Falcons boarded up in, I want to call them like the TIE Fighters. I've only just seen this now, but like the windows they have are actually like very similar to like, you know, a TIE Fighter, TIE Bomber kind of setup.
Yeah.
Can we run with that?
I believe you. I trust you. I 100% believe in everything that you're saying. It's factually correct, even though I have no idea what you're talking about.
Have you know what Star Wars?
Oh wait, yeah, but I guess I'm not
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Clearly, it was so memorable. All I know is
Whoa.
Darth Vader.
Someone's getting mad right now. Anyway.
I'm sure we won't let them get too mad because I watch a lot of anime. Anyways, this next pull, this is why you play for Ring 3, because you can continuously see here. Maybe it's not going to pull to that grav cannon, but when you have Cedo as a whole in that end game, think of all the chaos that we're about to witness towards that end game. Cloud9, they're in that main Cedo building, and Elevate is still trying to wrap through that initial rotate that we saw Luminosity in earlier, right? They were trying to lay siege to Oblivion, but they backed up, made it into Cedo, and now Elevate, well, you gotta deal with not only not Moist, but Weave, who's finally made their approach in from the south.
Yeah, the mirroring from Moist. Elevate got the better side of it being inside the ring, but they weren't counting on Weave being a tag team against them. So all of a sudden, they do get the one knock back. Well, actually, no, I say that. It's Guild who grabs that. But with the team sort of locked in, a little bit of a Mexican standoff here, will they be able to actually pull the trigger and finish one of these squads off? I don't know. At least they do get another knock now. Moist look like they might be the team that walks away with the most KP out of this engagement.
I mean, if you got Timmy out here sniping, he's got the Bruiser on this Sentinel, which is one of my favorite combos for that mid-range. Wraps up LOTR and kind of sends them back into that banner. They have that ring theory information, and now we can look to play from this area. You just have to deal with Elevate Gaming, who's just towards kind of their southeast, and Weave, who do still have to move. You've got that ping towards them on that location, but Timmy's really not wanting to give up this fight straightforward. Now, the craziness about this is, Gino, Board wants to get into the mix, right? They're down south of Checkpoint in one of those buildings, and they're going to have to decide, do we take Spider Tunnel or do we just Moist?
How did yes, he gets sniped from C9, by the way, is in the main building of Ceto Station. That's where that 30-30 shot just came from.
God, Sauce really be different from Cedo, I guess. Let me be real. Look, this is a team that is coming in, and they are not sold on qualifying, right? They came in 11th place, 64 points. NRG obviously holding that 12th place slot. And I know for a fact that Saucer and them are not going to be happy until they make it back to land and expand on that performance. Guild, Timmy might have to play this one out as a duo.
Oh, maybe it was a DC. Yes, we see that. Yeah, maybe just got caught out in the open at the wrong time. That's so rough for Moist. They're in a great spot. I mean, this hill is actually in for the next zone, but look, Elevate was still as a duo, so I mean, Guild and Timmy can potentially push this. They do still have to worry about Weave down the hill, but maybe they're just trying to, you know, make the most of this and grab some points while they still can.
Yeah, that is tough. That's gonna be the first team to leave on out, but not Moist. Still gonna be playing it out. They've taken out Elevate Gaming, and now they dropped Carter, but Weave does get the res onto that. The smoke is going to allow them a bit of cover, but we still have to fight on forward. And when you think about this rotation and what that's going to look like, Oblivion holding down that building is going to be such a threat to both of those. But we're not done. We're throwing the mother load, and Carter's trapped.
Okay, this fight has just been brewing for the longest time. Let's see how it finally ends here with, obviously, we see Elevate get finished off, but Moist as a duo seem to still be holding out Weave as a trio. This is some... I mean, they get some balls on them pushing this and really keeping them at bay, pressuring them this much as just the two-man.
Look, sometimes you just gotta show presence. You gotta peacock it out and just take that 2v3. Elsewhere, we got TSM starting to invest a lot of nades. There goes the rolling thunder. And this is going to allow us to swing, take that Prodigy Aces knock. Dupes down. Yup, eliminated. They've fallen. So is Fluffy Aimers, by the way. Your match 1 winners are down and out and will have to go again in match number 3. The exhibit still going to provide a lot of information as everyone begins to collapse here on that northeastern side.
Okay, Bleed pushing up to look at this as well. As you mentioned, lots of seer ults in and around here. Often that's a bit of a stop, a pause, a wait button, as other teams will wait for that to go down. But you kind of can't when the ring is at your back and pushing you in. So TSM move forward And there we go. Liquid Alienware, a casualty of this, and Furia and Bleed just trying to wait it out on the outskirts.
All right, let's get you back in there. Reps Not Moist finally fallen. Furia to join them as well. Bow check in hand for Reps, which makes 100% sense. And now let's see if we can hit that connect, but no one's gonna peek around that. So you might as well smoke it out, and under the guise of that, maybe look to hit a slide, but the comms come back and tell them to retreat. Somehow we've got to get into that main area of Cito, and where that circle starts to center up on is going to be a building that NRG controls, but TSM is going to be able to rotate straight in, but you have to deal with Bleed first.
Yeah, NRG coming in from Cascades. They had priority to Cito, and as you say, it's the big building. Well, not the one with the zip line, the one just to TSM's left here. That's where NRG is sitting, and that's where the zone is pulling. So being on the north side here, if they can clean out the other teams, which it looks like they are, as the knuckle clusters do critical damage here. You can see Bleed bleeding out. Very well done by TSM.
That was just a full knuckle cluster, to be fair. That was the entire breakdown of that roster. The building that NRG is holding is really tough to hold on to, because you think of the big doors that you can easily open it up. And now the majority of the time you'll see like a Watson team kind of go in there and fence it up, maybe throw a Jenny to try and help, because next thing you know, you're going to have teams that are going to be approaching from both sides, and you'll likely get sandwiched out. GG's to NRG for trying to hold that one down. Elsewhere, we'll look at Cloud9, where you had Saucer kind of picking up with the 30-30. Look like Naughty is also going to be locking it in, and we've got Oblivion in our sights, which was not actually Oblivion because they moved into the bottom of Cito, and now we've mirrored them.
And the rest of these teams just sitting in their small buildings here. Not many of them, any of them, maybe the tiny little bit for Pioneers will be in the next circle, Tiff. They're going to have to make a move at some point. Falcons, they've got one of the longest rotations to go, honestly. They need to get towards that building where NRG are, remember. And not right now, but at the end of this zone, that's when it's kind of all going to come crashing down for these teams on the outside.
What's great about this main building is you can just walk on over to the other side and still be involved in it. You just gotta avoid weave kind of popping up through those zips towards the inside and climbing on up. Falcons are likely gonna look to wipe SSG, but it needs to be cleanly, and you can already see they've full sent into Pioneers. A lot of teams still trying to hit that rotation in, and Luminosity is going to be one of them. You see that Dark Veil off into the distance past Saucerer's screen line, and that's where the two exhibits have also decided to coexist. This is what I'm talking about. NRG's position being, yes, it's in the next zone, yes, it's great, but it is so tough to hold on to.
It is, but look, TSM on their north side get taken out by LG, and now Temper coming in and trying to take that fight as well. You can see Sykes is barely alive at this point. Somehow Temper don't get a whiff of that, and they're not going to press the advantage. Does this mean reses are on offer here?
Oh no, Sykes kind of still watching different angles and gets swung. Takes a lot of damage. We've got 3 exhibits popped. SSG down on the right. Falcons have already rotated up through that building, neighboring Kansas City Pioneers. And honestly, LG and Temper fighting, LG now falling, kind of gives NRG that more safe haven that they needed.
I mean, you probably couldn't see it on the small map that came up, but the circle actually finishes mostly inside the building where NRG is. This is one of the most ridiculous circles for them that you could ever see. Sadly, they don't have a Catalyst, they don't have a Watson or a Caustic. They don't have those defensive legends that would just make this like an auto win, but they still have the position and they will hold on to it with their lives.
Exactly, and for Falcons, trying to do the same. They wipe Pioneers, take their location, but we've got to hit a res onto 0 quick. We've got plenty of time for that reset, but we need to focus forward. With the many fuses that are in the lobby, one knuckle cluster in here would just go rogue for them, and you've got Jen kind of sitting there crawling across the way. We've still on the low ground, Oblivion as well, but this is where Cloud9 is going to excel and start to pick up. Also, out of it, got the Devo in hand.
Yeah, I was saying how there was like that one building that looked like maybe it just had a corner in, and I think that was Falcons trying to sit in there, and then they realized it wasn't actually going to work. So you can see them popping out there, and it's a pretty unfortunate rotate for them at the end. So that's pretty much the game done for them, I would say. But yeah, look, nice spot up here that C9 have got. They've got Oblivion underneath them. And then we've got other people, quite a few teams now, knocking on the door of NRG.
I'm really curious what this rotation for Cloud9 is going to look like, not only because you stated that Oblivion is down below them, but for NRG, we are still holding on to this building. Temper on the outside, with 3 of them kind of like looking to take space, but that door being open and looking for angles onto NRG is going to be tough. If one member of NRG goes down, the next thing you know, we're gonna see a full send. And they've got fun here on Fuse, which I love here. He's got the Motherload in pocket, but we'd like to save those knuckle clusters. For now, we turn our attention to this Oblivion C9 rotate.
Okay. Dark fails up there. I think his teammate just blocked the exhibit. He wanted to throw that further, so it doesn't actually help them out that much. Naughty. Oh, he's going to be a little bit mad there, but they still come out of it unscathed. And Chaotic also throws down the Dark Veil just to secure their walk-in here on the west side.
So good thus far, picking up 2 eliminations here, and with 5 squads remaining, Oblivion does get full wiped. So now you really start to set the scene here, because that Dark Veil is expended. We need to chain those ult excels down together to make sure that going into the final engagement, we've got as much as possible. Hal, though, still alive. Here goes an exhibit. Fun. Knock, Reptar on the right-hand side. Hal's not going to have too much space to go. He's going for a full wrap to the open side of the building, because you got Temper lying in wait with the Devo just ready to connect.
Doesn't last long, but he does grab 4 placement points to push Falcons up even further here. However, it's all about these other 4 squads remaining. Temper picked up 6 kills already. Nice work there by Adjuvant, but at some point they need to make the move inside.
Hey, they're on that must win, right? They came into the regional finals in 20th place, needing to win match point finals to lock in Mannheim, Germany. But a team that wants to seal the deal from them is going to be Cloud9. They swing, they take down SSG, and Temper falls in the same vein. Sauce, Naughty down, Chaotic trying to hold on, but NRG from the building that I said was going to be so tough to hold, they do it with ease and take map number 2.
I mean, I don't think anyone even got inside. Like, they had that lockdown so tight, and I think one of the things that helps with that is the fact that that building has 2 doors, which are indestructible, right? I mean, you can just pop them down as soon as someone comes up, unless, you know, there's like an annoying cashier or something sitting around and like doing the drone trick where they just like keep toggling the door open. But, you know, not to be seen here in NA at the moment. The other 2 doors were knocked out, sure, but with the fuse, you know, hopefully you've got enough knuckle clusters that you can just keep firing them and people don't ever really want to push through.
That's one of those ones where I kind of wish before like all the chaos erupted in Cedo, we could have got a listen in from NRG to kind of hear how they were navigating holding that, because I did see some piercing spikes down on the ground, which obviously not going to be from NRG, could have been from Temper on that backside to push like NRG out, like not let them kind of full swing out the back early on, which is, you know, hey, cool, good to them. But regardless, you got those 12 placement points. Now we only have to wait and see how many eliminations they were able to acquire.
Yeah, and you know, they've got Bangalore as well, right? And now that you cannot have the threat vision to see through the smokes, I don't know, maybe that's as good as a, you know, a cat blocked door, you know, some ferrofluid there, because the other teams are guaranteed to not be able to see through that. You can still fire through it. I mean, you've got nothing better to do, sure, chuck a few bullets in there, but you know, it's something that they can do to delay the other teams.
Okay, well, we pull up those match 2 results. NRG grabs 8 eliminations from that entire game for 20 points. That is what I'm talking about. A brilliant way to bounce back after grabbing 4 points in match number 1. Cloud9, who grabs that main building in Cedo, rotates above Oblivion, grabs 9 eliminations for 18. Overall, pretty massive.
That is a big game there for Temper, but wow, Falcons even, you know, pushing up with 11 points. It didn't look like that great a game for them. and still they walk out with 11. They just, you know, never cease to surprise. TSM with 9 points. That's a pretty good effort from where they were sitting as well. And LG also on 7. It feels like all the teams who are, you know, a class sort of acts here in North America are continuing to just put up points when they need to, and that is exemplified by them taking away points from all of the donuts that we see on the bottom half of our standings here.
Yeah, they just got points sponged. So let's go ahead and bring up our top 3 teams' stats. You can see right there, NRG, 3,200 damage. But Cloud9, who controlled the high ground in Cedo and was able to watch a lot of those teams out towards the west that were rotating in, walk away with 5,600 damage. And honestly, Temper holding that north side of the building from NRG in the water. 4K, 6 eliminations. It's pretty stellar.
Not too shabby at all, and this is our overall standings right now. 2 matches are played, and Falcons are more than halfway already to match point. 22 kills. These guys are slaughtering the North American lobby right now. NRG and Cloud9, not too bad either, following up behind them, but look, there's a gap already, even after 2 games.
Yeah, there really is. And honestly, maybe it's all part of the plan because the majority of the Falcons' points come from Storm Point. Maybe if they can just get 15 points throughout the next 2 matches, throw it back to Storm Point where they've already won 4 games in general throughout the regular season. This is a good way to kind of just carry through that series. But Genome, look, it's been a lot of fun casting with you for map number 2. We've got to cut it to a break. And when we come back, match number 3.
It's a 1v1. Timmy trying to do what he can. He's got armor swaps to play with as well. Tries to switch his attention to this player and find the knockdowns to play behind as well. Medkit going to be popped in the meantime. Lot of pressure coming in. He's trying to stick this Medkit, and if he can, surely he's in a position to clutch this up. And oh, Timmy!
51. What's up here?
Careful, Timmy. Can you not peek them? I killed one. Back. We need to walk it up. 60. I'm batting. It's you two. Play together. Bang one, dead. One last.
Way to win this battle, if not the war, for the game. We told you they sometimes like to heat up at the end. And World's Edge with a Sky West pick at Skyhook with a zone that favored them. They could just be
I got needed hard. Kill left. I'm fucking dead, bro. I'm dead. Just kill him. You need this point. Nice. Killed him.
I need a bat. Close. I'm batting.
I need iron ammo. I have no bullets. 0 bullets.
I'll drop you. I give you 80.
I'm serious.
We need to kill these guys. I mean. What's the one? What's the dead? What's the last one?
Herman Miller is the official chair partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
And we're thankful for it. It allows us to sit nice and comfy while we do these broadcasts. It's been a lot in EMEA. Now we're going in North America. Shifting over to game number 3. Branda here alongside Vicky Kitty to continue the action. It was a great game that we saw NRG come out on top with. And Vicky, how much did NRG need that win?
They definitely needed it because this is a team where when I look at Noct and the way that he currently focuses on his IGL, momentum is everything. Mental is everything for a team like this. So already opening it up with game number 2 in the books with a dub, now you're going on to World's Edge where Tiff and Gino highlighted perfectly, where Falcons, they basically got all their points on Storm Point. Now as we're going on to World's Edge, this is the opportunity for a lot of these teams to do something in a very similar fashion. Farm these kills, get to match point first, and then you can focus on getting the dub if you cannot solidify those 12 extra points already.
I can't imagine this going 9, especially with a team like Falcons and the way that they played already. 35 points after 2. Certainly, they are within closing distance here, at least getting on match point if they continue this up in match number 3. World's Edge, though, will be the difference, and that's where we'll see if things start to shift. We know that some of these teams particularly perform quite well on certain maps, and that will obviously tilt in their favor. Falcons having performed so well. It's not a random pick. Their performance thus far has gotten them the best prio in World's Edge. That's Sky West, and that's not boding well for anyone who's trying to catch up. If you need to make a move, Vicky, you got to make the move now because Falcons can close it out within 4.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the fact that now they're going to be able to prioritize their POI on a map that they know they do lackluster on. What was the stat? 75% more in favor for them when they go to Storm Point is crazy. But we've seen very similar stat lines for some of these other teams where they find that success on World's Edge, but then vice versa, they don't have that same success on Storm Point. So now coming out of that NRG dub where you highlighted, Rain Day, how important was that dub? They were sitting on the cusp between 12th and 13th place. We could only welcome 12 teams from North America in Mannheim, Germany. So now all the points are necessary to take that away from Team Falcons if you aren't going to be vying for that #1 spot in winning the regional finals.
And also why it's so important to have one at least very good game, because if it does end early, if the points are sponged at the top, that one game is going to be the difference between an 18th place and maybe a 7th place, maybe a 6th place. And unlike EMEA, those stark moves can have a big difference in you being around. A la NRG, who just secured enough probably to feel good if it ended soon. They cannot get a 20th, a 19th, and 18th, though, like we saw our second place team in EMEA coming into this Gaming Gladiators, who still qualify. That would not be enough, sitting at 12th, as you had mentioned. As we transition into World's Edge, we'll start off with NRG, Fun FPS, Knock, and Reptar. Last week, Reptar was coming off of a sickness. It's always difficult to do. These are never easy lobbies to play in, whether you're talking mechanical skill or just mental fortitude to keep it up throughout the day. Stay prepped, stay ready. But when you're adding the sickness element to it, that's not what they needed. They bounced back really well after 2, though, and are staring a pretty good start in the face here as they begin their World's Edge approach.
Especially since even though Geyser has lackluster loot, you still have a ring console in that northern building, an evil harvester trying to split some loot that's inside the vault tunnel, trying to see if you could find out where that next circle is going, as they're going to be able to scan that ring beacon. And we are going over to the south middle side of this zone. Haven't seen a zone like this in quite some time here, but it's a nice little change up than what we're usually used to seeing, Rain Day.
I mean, this is great for them. You know, you kind of eye some of those center buildings because it gives you traction towards if it pulls Lava Siphon, if it pulls up towards Fragment. You have angles on that for KP. You could stay involved in some of the fights. Even if you're late, because, you know, guys are obviously not that much loot, you probably wouldn't be late. But if you are, you could stay there for a few rounds and probably be safe. That's what NRG are feeling. So if there was a pull that benefited them, I would say this would be the one. And look at that, already making a move there, Vicky. They realize this is an opportunity. Flat coming in, Liquid Alienware coming in as well, maybe vying for the same buildings here. And you can see how important it is to get that information early.
And why these quick rotations based off of the legend compositions that you're rocking is so important as well, with NRG already crossing that distance, probably by that zip line of Geyser to be in that northern building. They're seeing way more other teams now flying in from an evac tower, Flat being right in front of them, but they're not the only ones. Liquid Alienware has also wrapped around from Harvester after having a ring console and a survey beacon to base off of that information. The issue, though, when it comes to going in for these early rotations, are that you are lacking on in terms of ammo, in terms of anything that you may need, as you sit pretty in these buildings and are just gonna have to forcibly farm your evil shield charge from afar.
Benefits, just to add, if you're playing Watson, you do have that passive shield regen on the ultimate that's going to passively recharge, so you can take damage and not waste shield cells and shield batteries, because you know you haven't been able to loot enough of those to feel confident. But taking a fight is where things get risky, and you're right, they will have to go without some of those resources and hopefully get to blues. You see 30-30s on the side of Liquid Alienware and Niazul. He's going to need that one as well. Havoc, only 19 bullets in the magazine after the one clip that he's got right now. Can't be feeling too happy about that one. Niazul knows he's working on a budget, but at least they're in a good position.
Literally on the sticks, honestly, here. We have to deal with what you got, though, especially when you are one of the teams rocking the Watson. Something that you could expect within North America when there's no cryptos around you to EMP and destroy all your hard work with the Watson fences and the space that you've created for you and your team. Now, as you can see, Liquid Alienware trying to get in a little bit of an aggressive angle, but with the heartbeat sensor, he knows that there's a team inside.
Massive moment here. Arcstar is going to back off. Throws another one as well. One will hit. It hits him. Jack Waters could be in trouble. He's got to just fire the Havoc. He does enough damage. That weapon is so good. And that one's going to get destroyed. Arcstar won't be given back as well. That perk not able to even be selected yet. Blues are what they're talking about, which means they're not talking about their upgraded options as a team and as a character. All of these things so risky, but Liquid Alienware know that fighting for this building might just be fighting for this game if they can hold it. How do they peek around this corner? Nothing. Pre-fire from Yanya as well. Still, no one has made a move that's decisive.
But can you afford to even waste more of this ammunition? I mean, this is the chance right now to get the loot that you need from the team that is trying to neighbor alongside you in the same building. Any other squads within the area who are rotating away from Harvester or coming out of the Harvester tunnel side could get involved here. But when Yuzul and Huaguades lose out on their shield, having to back away.
I can't believe it right here. This is going bad for Liquid Alienware. It's just too many people in the kitchen. And they're going to have to get, I think they need to abandon this one unless they feel confident. Niazul's got nothing. He's got nothing. He's going to go down. It's now you've got to stand and fight because you can't get Niazul out of there. You're just hoping to hold. No grenades can hit. The benefit of that is you obviously can hold down this little area. But someone's going to have to do something here and make a play. Yanya would be the one you'd expect, but Liquid Alienware go down to the relentless pressure from LG on the outside. And boy, sometimes it doesn't pay to be first.
Nope, especially when you just gave up that building for a split second to poke at a team that was already safely inside of the opposite building. Now look at this. It was Fluffy Aimers who had forced their way into this building. And then they fluffed up Liquid Alienware before now. Not Moist have moved in to get the beam and the knock on top of it twice, both on Sweet and Funk.
I mean, I almost said, you know, hold on, this is a children's game here. You know, this is a team game. It's not mature, but fluffed up. I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Vicky Kitty making me question things as we're here in the North American Regional Finals. Stakes are high. Tensions are high. It's Timmy. We saw him do it once. Not going to do it twice there. It takes too much damage. Moist is out. That's it. Fluffy Aimers have dominated this fight. They've gotten so many moments that have gone their way, and this is looking like a day for Fluffy Aimers that really no one would have predicted.
Listen, better late than sorry, I always say it here, but with Hambino being the last one alive, we've seen Hambino do this before. The triple take. Weave get eliminated. Hambino, the MVP, but the third party with that sear tack get word of what is happening inside.
Oh, my goodness. With the triple take, Hambino's not going to make it out, but certainly is a part of the pieces breaking down in this lobby. It was like a Jenga block just pulled out and everything started to crumble with that. Fluffy Aimers were the piece that was removed. And in that same way, they removed all these pieces. Liquid Alienware went down. LG went down. It was such a difficult fight to play, and ultimately it's Blink and Reeds who jump in to take advantage of it all. But man, 12 teams only alive here. This is one of the faster paced starts to a game that we've seen in North America.
It's crazy. Look at the flyby there, too. I like this choice from Oblivion because they were one of the early rotating teams, so they absolutely needed loot. And with the graveyard at their feet, they are going to profit while still leaving one member of Oblivion to hold down that northern building that Space Station is close to. So they're splitting this space to deny the opportunity from other teams that will be getting desperate, like Yup, to then get into that next circle once they see that next circle is pulling in that direction. Considering that there was a ring console over by Harvester, a lot of the squads that are going to be rotating from that western side probably does already have that information, or the teams even looking at Furia TSM with Lava Siphon having a survey and a ring console, they're also going to see that it's continuously pulling north.
Yeah, as that happens, we've got a juggernaut. I call it the Battle of the North in EMEA. It's a similar thing here. SSG, one of the most gifted individual teams fighting against Team Falcons, would be probably their first fight of the game. They see 12 teams dead. What's been going on? No idea. We've just been running around and looting. That's why we're on purples. First taste of action here for two of our top teams in North America as Falcons try to make it through. Let's listen in and see how Zero directs the squad.
Fuckers, like, holy shit.
One's on the bins.
Yeah, two on the bins, I'm pretty sure, too.
I don't know if they're playing top right at all.
Yeah, there was one there. Repeater.
Are they gone?
No, this should be still
One's on the heady here. One's on the heady there. One mid. What three?
Yeah, one's still top.
50 on bang. I'm getting queued.
Yeah, cracked on. Batting. He's on my left. I one bad body.
One's here.
Yeah. I'm gonna try C-scan.
One's on the fence. 40 on him.
Yeeting back out. I got fucked.
He won.
We have to take space.
They're on my thing.
On my left.
Yeah.
Sliding down to me. Left. Me, I think.
Okay, I'm here left side. I'm here left side.
You're back.
They bang out to do. I'm playing left side. They're fuse ulting. I'm gonna fuse ult, okay?
Yep.
One's on the left.
Yeah, I'm front of bat.
60.
Like 50.
They didn't fuse ult.
Yeah, that's not good.
They're running. Check, running.
Wait, shoot the bang. The left bang. The left
bang. 56 here.
I can't see him.
Up the cross.
Kid. Did he cross?
Do I have the check now?
Yeah, I'm taking the truck.
They might try regress because they fuse ult.
Yep.
Can you spell cars cross here?
Let's go here.
Yeah.
They're getting shot at. I hear someone shooting at them, I think.
Hand back to FL?
There's 3 buddies here. 3 bats. There's 3 buddies here.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm dropping a bat.
They still close guard check.
Okay, I'm gonna pick them in a second. Got another one. Yeah, I'm looking.
Mate, still fucking.
There's a bunch of fucking nades.
So.
There's a bunch of bodies.
He's on close. He's on top. I got stuck by fuse queue. No.
I have a lot of nades still. Got fucking lot. I haven't ult myself a bang ult.
Okay, I'm 30% off.
They're still peeking us.
I have 5 sky nades.
I think they're gonna try fucking fight us.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab cells in a second.
I think I should get a sub down. Getting a sub down. Make sure you're peeking for me.
I have my ult back from 5%. What are you, purple?
Is he on top of the rock?
He's on top of the rock, yeah, the fuse.
Yeah, clip him. Wait, they're gone. They left.
Okay.
I'm not getting heartbeats. They go down the hill or the fuck?
I have so many.
I guess they went to Geyser.
What's the next route here?
We should have to nuke a building at the bottom.
There was like 1 guy in this building earlier. Like I swear there was a solo in there, but there's no solo actually.
Go peek guys side.
Okay, yeah.
Well, a bit of a Mexican standoff there, a Western where, you know, you put your pistols up and yet nobody fires. They set it up for a great fight, 3v3, Vicky, but unfortunately, at least for the viewers and maybe not for SSG and Falcons, we don't really get a lot of blood there. Both teams will decide to break into zone their own way and, oh, settle things another day.
Well, Space Station said they didn't want any of that business, but it's still Chen who gets the knock, even if they aren't facing off in the choke that we were expecting. In the distance is Team Falcons. They see where they just ended up rotating to, talking about Space Station, and they're stuck in between the mother load. They're coming out for blood, but do they know that KCP is what is standing in between Falcons and Space Station?
That's so interesting. They do know a team is in there, but Falcon's still prioritizing the team on the far side. That was SSG, like you so appropriately mentioned. This is Falcons. I'm not sure if they're still so tracking it to where they want a little bit of revenge, or they just know this team is a threat. Evac tower in front. This is the problem sometimes with that fuse ult. Not able to really walk through any of that fire, especially if it's your own. Sometimes the unknowing nature of where it's going to fall once it hits that evac tower and grants you the vision can be a hindrance. It's one of the things they play off of every single team fight, though, if they can. And right now, not working out. Zero goes down. Falcons in trouble. Imperial, Algs, and Burton, they're out just like that. SSG and Falcons essentially gone, but there's still one from SSG, Koifel, who is alive.
Ain't no way Koi in the crevice was able to absolutely blast Falcons, following up off of the pressure that they had. They originally wanted to take that evac tower out of there. They did not want to try to continue this fight here with the circle closing right behind their back, and they were getting pinged from afar. Exactly how Anmu is, though. The hip fire shots miss out. Koi gets another knock, but fine knocked, comes in to save the day, take care of the problem that was left as a solo from Space Station. Now they will be able to get this res, but look at the charge rifle out in the distance. It is NRG with their POI being at Geyser, who have not left that building that we first saw them rotate to.
Yeah, NRG are in a great spot. Just as you mentioned, they've been in that building. They've got no duress. No one is trying to take it from them. That was the difference between the one building they had and the one building next to them. It changed everything for them. And so NRG actually luck out there. Pioneers, though, will have to try their luck, or NRG will have to move. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see TSM, who's actually in a pretty nice position as well. They've got one big move to make. But if they can make it, Elevate Gaming in front of them and one of the caravans to the left, Complexity holding that building and Climatizer, it's going to be an opportunity for them to have a great spot in the final zone. But this is what Verholz decides to go onto the right. They're going to challenge towards the Elevate side. And there's a solo of Elevate who's just going to give up this space completely. And this is TSM, a perfect rotate from them. They are safe for now.
Look at the pressure of TSM's presence, even with Zap and Verholz getting absolutely beamed. Nicely placed tactical there, actually highlighting TSM from inside. They're stuck inside of a motherload here too, and the knuckle clusters have you clenching while you're popping that shield bat. But I'm not expecting Elevate to try to overextend, because out in the distance on top of that building is Complexity, as Zach Mazer, Kraber in hand, misses out on that shot here.
Man, it's still a big threat. And I think for Zach's situation, Vicky, I think it's just great to have so that nobody comes towards you. Obviously, you want to get rid of the threat in front of you. But that Kraber, 10 shots left, the zone like this, the poke, the KP that's possible, it's going to be huge. TSM have stabilized. Maybe the moment's been missed. Keon up on top on the Pathfinder. This Furious squad, they've been looking better and better. Vaxilon has fit in so well. Keon calls him the best Bangalore in the world, if you've been paying attention. Vaxilon certainly trying to live up to the high standard of that title. Madness, obviously, on the Fuse, the MNK player, making it so much easier. That's something we don't point out a lot, but just so difficult. I mean, it's impressive to see these controller players playing such a mechanically needy character like Fuse, of how to aim those knuckle clusters exactly where you need to, high ground, low ground, quickly. It's so much easier for a player like Madness to do it on MNK.
That's nice to highlight there. That's something that we've seen back in the past too, when it comes to certain legends being picked over the priority of what you're using, whether it be the controller or mouse and keyboard. But while they are holding that split angle, they know that board are sharing that building on the north side of them, and Zach is still trying to find an angle with this Kraber, but it's not just onto TSM. They're looking on the other side of where maybe Complexity will be rotating to, as well as the bridge that is to their north side, where Oblivion and Yup are also fighting.
100%. And the more I think about it, I think Zach might be right here. This is the type of building that's going to get sieged up front. And so there really is no need. It's such a risky play to hold that Kraber shot for some type of amazing hit check if someone shows in. You get on the highlight reel, but if you miss, it's basically lights out, especially if someone comes at you with a Havoc or a Hemlock. You're just going to be out of the DPS race. Smoke come in to shut off the line of sight. Exhibit goes down just in case there's a push. There is movement. They see it. Evac tower as well. Fuse, Lux 40, will he be trying to get on that? Ooh. Possibly. We could see an ultimate. There's at least one that goes up there to Grant Vision. Verholz, TSM, they found their way outside. Now they're in front of E8. What are E8 going to do about it? And what's Complexity going to do about it? Because they've got to move out of the zone. And they're to TSM's left.
This zone is pulling directly towards the middle. That kind of has both Elevates building in here too, but TSM with reps losing out on his shield. You see Verholz looking like a chameleon, looking in both angles, even through the catwall, but he walks right behind Verholz. He wraps around to try to pinch him, but they are completely disoriented on where this team may have gone. They just wrapped around on the other side of that catwall, further highlighting how important holding that catwall was after the exhibit went down.
Ooh. I mean, you're right, Vicky. All those points, so good, and exactly why Catalyst is so powerful, but doesn't mean it's the end of TSM. I mean, is that maybe still a reset opportunity here, because now the catwall's been used. And they're going to try to push, but you're going to push against Big E, the CEO. You know what he does? I called him CEO. Maybe I should have called him, you know, COO. But at this point, he's making a run for the title. What a clutch there. TSM take down Complexity. And they live to fight another day with a top 5.
Last Big E doing Big E things here, but as you mentioned, they go down before Complexity come in for the third party, and Oblivion may meet the same fate. NRG now as a duo try to take these raw hipfire shots on the triple take. All you gotta do is barrel stuff them if you can't see through any of that smoke. And now NRG looking to get the 2P, get the res with nobody to contest them on that low ground or even the high ground here, while EA is fixated on the other fight happening right next to them.
Well played. Well played from Elevate. I love just that they committed to the right caravan. They held it And Zach still has 8 shots in the Kraber, with Luxford and Slayer just being a little more aggressive. 1 shot from Zach, and this should be over. But he smartly goes in with the Havoc. Up close, it's going to be the weapon that you want to use. Waits for the piercing, the Dark Veil to go down. And there's just scans all around. Board, NRG, E8. 3 teams going at it, trying to grab a win. NRG, they are so close. 11 points would get them to match point, Vicky. If they took down both squads, maybe it's enough. It'll be very, very close, though. NRG certainly hoping they can get over the threshold with a win here.
Especially with their low ground position as they make their way up. But whack-a-mole, Zach Mazer finding the jumping Bangalore and the shot with the Kraber, but shooting blanks through that smoke before Elevate wrap around the aggression. 3 squads left, and you know the energy is waiting right around the corner to engage.
Nothing bored about it. They are excited. They are at their best. When they are in these moments, NRG have momentum and they keep it up. Another win, another moment for Knock Fun and Reptar. And could they have just put themselves on match point?
That was crazy. Remember what we're talking about when it comes to mental and the momentum that we know this team is capable of? Well, Fun just went crazy that game there too. Not only did he clutch up for NRG on the low ground in that fight, he stays alive, gets the reset. He also was able to get 7 KP just himself by the end of that game. But crazy back-to-back from NRG. 1 on Storm Point to end it with World's Edge right after that.
Incredible stuff. And I think you're talking about the right conversation, because we set it up around it's the little things that have gone wrong. It's the day of decisions. It's not the strategy. It's not the macro. It's not the players. We know these players have been so good. Remember, Complexity, Reptar, and Bloodhound, that was the first time we saw Bloodhound in the ALGS in the same way that we're seeing it now, running at people with Monsoon to his side. I don't know if that was Sinox or Lou. I mean, I don't know who was next to him, Retzi maybe, but whatever it was, there was just such a crew there who was going hard with that character and that aggressiveness. So you know that the skill is there, but finally putting it together, that's got to feel good for NRG. And it's also got to feel like relief for them as a team, that they're finally doing what they should be doing, Vicky, what people expect them to do, taking a little bit of weight off the shoulders as they head into another great performance and maybe just only find themselves a few points away from match point. Maybe they made it. We're going to have to wait to see.
That's crazy to say. With the back-to-back win, they've at least were able to get a good amount of KP. I wouldn't be too surprised, Rain Day, but you did highlight something that we know that NRG is capable of, but it was also being on that cusp and feeling that pressure going into regional final day. Again, this is a team that was sitting in 12th place overall, but the way that they played that game on World's Edge, seeing that they landed in Geyser, seeing that they had the ring console, they were able to make a quick rotate, and notice how they did not get overzealous when everybody else was fighting in front of them before they were able to take the dub.
And I think that was such a great thing about that cast. When I look back, it was highlighted immediately. Wow, great zone pull for them. Not a lot of work, and they have an opportunity here with the information to be one of the first into the best spots. And that priority spot continued to be where they played from. And as the game lost 8 teams at the outset, I mean, it's not going to tell this whole story. This top 10, some ways the top 10 tells the story. Some ways the bottom 10 tells the story as well. We know NRG did well. Elevate Gaming, Zach, that was amazing. Board and Oblivion, TSM running out our top 5. But I'd love to skip down to 10 through 20 if we can. Because the thing for me is those 8 teams that died really early on, I mean, it was a battle for that location. Look at how many kills and points are distributed amongst these bottom 8 teams. Normally, it's a little bit more spread out, but there was a lot of even distribution because it was just chaos at the beginning.
Especially that first building that we saw 3 teams fight for that one building north of Lava Siphon was insane. That's why you saw Liquid Alienware on the bottom end of that overall standings now here too, as NRG Rain Day 2 points away from hitting match point.
Not sure I had this as an expectation for today, though. I mean, I think NRG, a good performance, is strong, but this type of performance, I mean, leading Falcons by 11 points, and leading the rest of the lobby, the 3rd place team, by 24 points, 2 wins already. This is fantastic. It's phenomenal. And it really is a showcase of how NRG have taken this lobby by storm, and also the quality that is in North America. Genome, I know you've been watching on the sidelines. Your take, NRG, they get 2 wins already. I mean, is this Cybercats all over again? We're going to see NRG close the deal this time around?
Oh God, I hope not. You know, that played with my heart enough to see Cybercats do so well and then not make it through. I mean, NRG are in a better position than they were, right? I mean, NRG, if they can keep this pace up, will just get in regardless because they can actually qualify through points. They don't necessarily have to take that match point win. But damn, if we are getting some like vintage NRG right now. I mean, they've kind of gone missing for, I don't know, what is it, like 8 months, something like that now. But, you know, all of a sudden, they're back to that spot where it was like, you know, they kept coming to people being like, hey, we've never finished worse than second in an online league before. And, you know, they need some of that energy if they want to make sure that they don't miss another LAN.
Well, we honestly know, you know, the thing we do know is that if NRG bring the energy that they're bringing over these last 2 games, they're going to be successful, whether they are in split or whether they are at LAN. It's the question of can they do it? All those dynamics, Genome, coming into play. And you know what? I know someone who's been watching as well, who has a chance to chat about some of those dynamics too and talk about the overall scene. It should be the man. Is he in Scotland? Is he doing a kilt race? Is he in London? Where is he at dinner with Hal right now as we speak? I mean, what's going on with this guy? We the people, our ALGS host, the man on the stage, you know, Levels. I'm saying it before you because you always get mad that I do that. What's up, brother? Welcome to the halftime show. How you doing?
What's going on, you guys? If there's anybody that can say Levels and I'm going to be happy with, it's you, Rain. It's you, man.
Well, I'll say Levels to that one more time as well. Listen, man, I don't know. Before we get on this, where have you been? You've been all over the place on the timeline. I know people just want. Have you been having a fun time? It looks like you've been on vacation or something.
Yeah, it's insane. My girlfriend's sister got married in Ireland, so we took a little trip to Europe. Did a little kilt race. It was the Scotland Highland Games, and we got second place, but I should have won, man.
Well, that's a good segue into competition for sure, as today has been pretty scintillating as well. I'll just say the obvious thing, and then we'll let Vicky and Genome kind of talk to you as well. NRG, how about it? Is this what you expected? What's your thoughts just after their 2 games that they've won after 3?
Yep. I mean, I definitely expected them to do well. They're, you know, 3 phenomenal players, but 2 back-to-back wins, you know, 1 on Stormpoint, 1 on World's Edge. You love to see it. You love to see it, and I'm excited for the boys. I know they're hungry to make it to LAN, make it to Germany, and compete, try to win.
I love how the Christmas tree is just tilting even more and more as like the months progress out in the background. All right, peeps. I tuned into your stream earlier. You were super excited to join us here for the halftime show. Seeing the competition, the levels of competition in this lobby have just been crazy to see alongside with Team Falcons and the way that they just treat every game like a kill race. But this is match point regionals finals, so you know you have to take the dub after you hit 50 points. I mean, out of the teams that we're seeing perform thus far, including NRG in that conversation, which of these squads do you think has that more consistent chance of taking the dub? Because I know, you know, the boys over by Team Falcons, they do live right by you over there by Austin, so it's crazy to see the way that they've been able to perform thus far.
Yeah, I mean, if we got to give it to one team, you got to go Falcons. I was at dinner with Hal last night, and dude, he's hungry. He's hungry. He wants to win. Second place, he's not going to be happy with. But you know, we are playing a battle royale. It's anybody's game at the end of the day. It's match point, and so we'll see what happens.
Well, we've had a couple of really fun games so far, peeps. So I'm going to take you through those final circles and get your thoughts on how these played out. Who was, you know, the kind of the keys to victory were for the teams that won our first few matches. Here's this one over near Launchpad where Falcons went crazy, but they didn't quite get the win. Do you think, is there anything that they could have done to make this better, or was playing for KP the right play?
You know, always playing for KP is great, but I would have loved to see a little more patience from Falcons and the boys. They had that team playing in the knockdowns. Could have waited a little bit more, shot a couple knuckle clusters, got the kill, you know, a little more cleanly. But second place with the amount of kills that they got, I think they got, what, 24 points from that? Phenomenal game. Phenomenal.
Yeah. It was pretty nuts, and I don't know, maybe Hal's just too hungry to, you know, keep pushing his way up that kill leaderboard. But here we go into the second game where NRG had this stranglehold on that middle building.
Yep. Well, you know, this is perfect Apex here. Just absolute patience coming out from the boys at NRG, and sometimes doing less is doing more. And you saw it perfectly here, and you're going to see it in the third game, in their second win as well. Just playing patient, waiting for the moment to strike, and
jamming out and having a good time at the end.
Absolutely
love that
jamming
remote
out
there.
And I will say one thing to start off this final circle. We have not seen a final circle in this area, in this exact area with the bridge, in so long. And I miss these random circles. And I think that's one of the best things about Apex is all these, different end games. So would love to see a little bit more of that. Phenomenal headshot by Zach. I mean, I wish he hit the second one as well. Got a little bit of 3 KP right there. Oh, actually 2 KP. Fun stole one. And then NRG just coming in to clean up. Easy kills, easy dub, and 2 points away from hitting match point.
Yeah.
Hey man, well you've given us a very insightful quote today. You said you went out to dinner with Hal yesterday and he was hungry. The follow up: did he eat anything? Did you fill him up or what? He ate. We all ate some sushi. It was good. Very expensive sushi. Daltouche picked the spot, man, but it was it was tasty. I could tell the Daltouche wreck was questionable for you guys as well. But all jokes aside, man, we like to have fun when you're with Atlanta. It's always an amazing time, man. And so we like to joke around. Hungry in game, hungry. Hopefully he got some meals before he headed into today's matchup as well. But peeps, at the end of the day, whether you sent Hal starving into the games or whether he was filled up, it was honestly one of those things where Falcons was always going to be a favorite. Are you predicting them to win before we let you go? Do you think this is going to be a Falcons day, even though NRG are playing this well?
All right, like I said earlier, it's anybody's game, and it's tough to say one or the other. But if I had to put my money on anybody, I'm going with the Falcons, going with the house favorite.
Still. Okay, the odds, man. Yep. If you win that one, it's going to be good. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, always a laugh to have you on. Thanks for joining us here so soon after all the travels.
Love y'all.
All right, peeps may join us as well after game number 6. If it goes that long, we know we'll at least do 6, but we could be closing there, Vicky. I mean, so funny. Peeps always just such a bright energy. It just makes you laugh right away. And at the end of the day, it's just great to see still sticking with Falcons. That's true love right there.
Yeah, the dedication is real out here too, Rain Day. You know what? You gotta give props. I do not blame him, especially after going out to dinner yesterday. I mean, what do you expect?
Well, I wonder if it was candlelit.
Yeah, what was going on? What was going on here? What was the scene? What was the temperature here? A lot of pregame meal talk. Listen, these are athletes. Okay, we got to give it to them. Listen, I love everybody watching. We're having a lot of fun here, and we're still got more action to come. So stay tuned because we've got Vicky taking a break. We've got Tiff and Genome getting ready to kick it off in Game 4.
Oh, we are full sending it. I thought we were going to a break. No, that's chill. All right, so here we go. I'm back. I was honestly really curious. When I was listening to that interview, I was waiting for peeps to be like I said earlier, Hal's hungry. And then he didn't do that, so I was a little disappointed, Gino.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know how much more we can say about that without getting in trouble. So I'm just gonna leave it for the moment, Tiff. But I'm glad that they're getting along well. I'm glad the Falcons are doing well. And look, it's always a good time seeing peeps.
Nah, it really is. But for NRG kind of rolling off this back-to-back win, not only done that on Storm Point, but they get a win on World's Edge, which is very characteristic of what we saw in the EMEA region earlier. Only over there, it was Cybercats, right? And they were on a different page. They needed a must-win situation. So as we move into this second map on World's Edge, and we've been seeing a lot of zones that have been different from what we've been witnessing, and a lot of that I like to think is from the mid-season patch. But maybe you're at home, you're logged in, you're looking for watch parties, or you want to host one of your own, be sure to check out FACEIT Watch. It's the official multi-view streaming platform for the Apex Legends Global Series. And honestly, one of my favorite things about it is the map view, Genome. It is just so stellar to be able to help with the way that you choose to watch Apex, because the map view just really shows a lot of rotations and great ways to review things.
Oh yeah, it's a completely different experience when you have that context and that information that the map view provides you. I mean, we couldn't do our job without it.
We really couldn't, but let's get locked in. Map number 4, our dropships, multiple of them, zoom off into space. Honestly, I don't know where they're going. I thought you were gonna hit with more Spar Wars there, but for now, we get a good look at Geyser, your back-to-back winners. Now, Genome, something that I was doing when I was kind of just prepping for this is, do you realize that the only map that NRG has won, aside from today, was a Storm Point map on match day 1?
Damn. That's a fun stat to hear come out, I guess. Yeah, look, NRG are showing up here today. You cannot doubt that, right? It's a little sad they didn't get over the hump, and you know, I don't know how much more you can ask of them, really. It is only game 4. They're not quite on match point just yet, but it feels like it's imminent.
I mean, yeah, they're 2 points away, and then we see that beautiful ring console scan, and look, you know, I think it's happening. I think it is happening. I think NRG, who are landing Geyser, which is crazy, see a most intriguing circle pull that is very similar to what we have been witnessing.
Yeah, is it a repeat circle? I'm just having a look. Do they have a ring console though? Because you get the most tragic situations sometimes where a zone gets just dropped in your lap, but you don't have the ring console, so you don't realize it. And from what I can see, I think they've only got a survey beacon.
There's a survey beacon in No Name. There's a survey beacon in Geyser. And if they're going to look at where this circle is, they're going to wait for the Overlook team to rotate on out where that ring console is, because you know Lava Siphon's going to have all the teams from the south kind of correlate up there. So their best chance at a ring console is actually Overlook.
Yeah, do they want to go all the way out there, or do they just want to play off, as you said, yeah, watching the other teams like Cloud9 rotate, who, as they can see, are coming towards them?
Oh yeah, no, they're going for that survey beacon in No Name too. Yeah, it's tough, right? You get a circle that's relatively easy for you to read, but you don't get a ring console to know where it's going. Plus, you think about their legend composition, right? You've got to see. Wait a second, we got Reptar on Watson. Times are a changing, no fuse for them. So yeah, even if I was like thinking they were gonna still have fuse and they would have to wait for Ringmaster to hit that ring console, but nah. We can see it on blue right there, and now we've got to fight our way out. Bleed already engaging there with Cloud9, who's been sandwiched with liquid Alienware. That's tough.
Ooh, well, if Cloud9 were the team that they were watching to see what to do next, I don't know if running into the middle of several other teams is something that they want to follow suit on, frankly. NRG do look to be safe for now, but Complexity also getting caught up in the madness here as all of these teams kind of shove themselves somewhere in, around, near the choke that joins Lava Siphon and Fragment.
Well, at least Bleed does have that ring console that is going to give them the information, and they seem to be wanting to play from one of the southern buildings in Fragment East. So if we are going to expect to pull back to Frag, which is a really good gamble for it, but I also like maybe playing towards... Yeah, it's tough. Think of all the choke areas coming out of Geyser, and then you have to deal with the Lava Siphon teams. I think this might be the better play, especially for Bleed that needs eliminations, right? They've only been able to accumulate 10 points throughout. So keeping that north, the Watson's already got the Jenny down. We ripped the shields right off them, but Smoke and Disengage to get back to the team.
Oh, doesn't pop the bat first. That's a risky play, but it does pay off. Gets there just in time. Another bullet or two, and it could have been a different story, but Bleed for now get a chance to move their way further up. As you say, hasn't been a super inspiring performance from the team just yet.
It definitely hasn't. As we keep an eye out, the big mod squad doesn't get a ring console. That one's also going to be in stacks. So Temper takes a very large rotation over towards that Overlook side of things. For the teams that have made it into Lava Siphon, you've got KCP, and then across the way, you've got the board roster on 19 points, 8th place for the day, which honestly is pretty stellar considering they were in 14th place. However, if you want to break into that top 12, we're going to need to perform exceptional considering the teams that are just above you, such as NRG in that 12th place spot when we came into today, had already thrown down 2 back-to-back match wins.
Yeah, incredible start for them, but I don't know, I'm a little bit superstitious about this kind of stuff. Okay. And I think like you have a certain amount of match wins that you get to use on a match point day, and if like Cybercats, you just like you press that button too early, they're gone. You don't get them back. That's my deeply held belief.
I also believe that as well, so that's what makes me nervous, right? I would have rather them gotten 2nd place throughout, but Furia, speaking of 2nd places, notorious for that. Keon goes down, now looking to get that res as Vax is gatekeeping here on the zip, not wanting to let anyone come on up the top. They get Keon back on their feet, the exhibit's out, and we zip through. That is going to be tough. And look at all the abilities that came through from that.
They played that so well. I mean, just the shuffling the duties there for the team in terms of smoking it off at the right time, having someone to cover while you res, looking at the zip line. That was really well done. Loved that reset by Furia.
Well, yeah, because Pioneers were looking for a third party, and now all they're paying attention to is going to be that board roster and not Furia. Like, that was honestly coming down to like tenths of seconds on that retreat from Furia to move in towards that building. So love to see that for them. For Bleed Esports, who are still kind of out here on this northern side, it looks like we're electing to leave Fragment and kind of wrap down towards Vault Tunnel.
Yeah, they've got... what is that? The one remaining member of Temper, and they can see just getting a couple of flash shots into them as well. Bleeder on the chase.
Ooh, yeah, honestly. Look, clear it out, and then maybe rotate back around, pop up to the surface, and then just make sure that no one rotates in behind you. Or be like knocked and run face first into a frag.
Ah, that's fine. He can, as long as he's going in as the second man, should be okay, despite taking quite a bit of damage from that one. This is, wow, the Temper player here has gotten out so far, but finally, yep, is going to meet his end.
It's just inevitable. You can only delay it for so long. The Bleed roster now kind of separated a bit. Shubi probably holding down, looking for information. Would love to see where that third zone is going to start pulling. But for now, you have to deal with the fluffy aimers who are out there on the western side of that next zone, who are trying to stave off against Weave. Now, this is where it's great because you've got Presley there kind of out there with the Watson fences that are so far forward. Even though they've motherload, they've hit the focus of attention. That's going to be the biggest thorn towards their side if anyone that is coming out of that choke underneath them.
Whoa, Hamburino just grapples out in time. Of course, that is how you know you're in the North American region, because we've got Hambino, as opposed to, of course, that's how you know you're in EMEA, because you've got Bambino.
True. That is true. I do love all of those names. They're so solid, but for the Falcons, guys, right? Okay, now they scored so many points over on Storm Point, but have been getting cut down on World's Edge. If you were 11 points from that 50-point threshold, I need to see one of the best World's Edge games of the day from them. However, not too good. Don't know how to win just yet, because obviously, Genome says there's only so many of those to go around.
Oof, and yeah, as you were saying, you know, I'd rather the NRG would have got second. I mean, the match point specialist Falcon, they did it. They took out a second in the first game, right? They're playing by that playbook.
Honestly, they could just go back to back to back to back and just end it. That would be crazy. We've seen it done before. However, not by NRG.
Moist did it in Apex South.
Yup. We've had it done on LAN too. It was crazy. I heard a team like TSM or something did that.
Incredible, these teams. And Zero actually gonna go down first. Not great. Means that there's no smoke available for them to try and pull off a reset, though. Oh, I guess someone else helped smoke them to help Al get that bat off, and now they're going to have to move forward here, trying to put some pressure on. Knuckle Clusters behind just to give themselves a little bit of time. LG are pulling up, though, as you can see, and I don't think they're going to have time to get this off. I think Falcons are done.
Yeah, Fluffy Aimers have fallen down to the final 15 squads of the lobby, and here comes Luminosity. Dia had them picked to win, and honestly, I was starting to believe it also, but they throw down the exhibit, they start chucking those frag grenades, which honestly, I love the Falcons' position, but not at this point in time of the game with so many teams around this area. Now, Luminosity moving in, they're gonna have their back clear towards that edge unless someone decides to rotate through that initial choke point. That's gonna push Falcons forward. This will remain isolated unless Liquid Alienware comes back.
Wow. Red Armor's insane. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now, because Falcons were in such a rough spot, and LG, I think, were just a little too reticent because they were scared, because they're on blues. And, you know, when you're hitting shots on people who have red armors, it kind of scares you a little bit. Here we get into the clutch between the two teams, and Gen and Zero will actually turn that around. This team is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's 3 powerhouses, but then obviously they created a super team. That's what you would expect. And on paper, they are astronomical, and thank God that they've been performing to the best of their abilities that they can. However, throughout the match days, they did get progressively worse placement, with their most prior one being a 6th, which nothing to scoff at by any means, but you know the Falcons will not be impressed with that. For TSM that are looking to hit that rotation, I'm really interested to see them kind of come out of this S-shape area, because they did not go north towards the fragment side and are now being slammed by frag grenades, by mother loads, by smokes. A lot of vision and sight lines being cut off, but still trying to find angles around.
Oh no, Verhulst though does not recognize that there's a player on the left angle, and that will see him traded for free there, and may even be the end of TSM. No? Wow, okay, they actually stay up here, but Furia, are they gonna push it? They don't know. They don't realize how weak they are. This is kind of like the LG situation. Sometimes you need to push in and strike while the iron is hot.
Well, this is what Keon was saying on the last broadcast about what playing Pathfinder brought to Furia and brought to their team dynamics. It allows Keon to get extensions out like that and just make angles, make plays, free up them for space. They do send Vaxlon on alongside of him, where Madness has found himself in the building, still looking for information and focusing on the calls. For NRG, right, starting in Geyser, they rotate out through the tunnel, hit No Name, and then they navigate themselves back to this choke point where they've been since the dawn of time. And how no one has chowed them here is kind of crazy, but I'd have to imagine it's because of Reptar's presence with the fences.
Yeah, that switch over to Watson does seem to be working out for NRG, doesn't it? Because you got to note, they're up to 50 match point. NRG are now match point eligible, not during this game, but from match 5 onwards. I mean, it reminds me of the days when they played Loba on Storm Point. They, you know, I feel like you can do a similar sort of thing with Watson. It is not a playstyle that is that far removed.
I mean, you think back to the EMEA region, you got Passion UA, they play Watson on World's Edge, as do some others. And for now, with that circle pulling straight towards ahead of them, they just have to move into a building and fight for that. For Falcons, who have found themselves on the edge, sandwiching Cloud9, who ultimately goes down to a knuckle cluster from Fuse, now they can kind of keep that information forward as SSG is forced down towards the remnants of Frag, and that opens up Falcons for a relatively easy rotate through the open.
Yeah, it's not too bad for them now that they've, you know, Fluffy Aimers got cleared out ahead of them, which is really what allowed them to have even a chance against LG in that fight. But SSG are there up the top, and they've also got Yup nearby. So, look, it's not done and dusted yet for Falcons, and NRG are in a much superior spot. But, as we saw, they were on, I think, blues as opposed to the reds, so they've got some work to do.
Yeah, haven't been fighting too much, but for Furia, they've been fighting a lot. 5 eliminations so far for match number 4, but this is turning into like an ultimate standoff with them and the team just ahead. You can see that Exhibit has done what they wanted it to do. Oblivion throws that out. However, Furia's just like, fine, I'll wait. I don't have to play that game. Now you just lost your Exhibit. We're gonna evac tower around you, and hopefully you've got ult excels. Oh, and here you go. Here's a Rolling Thunder.
All right, both teams just trying to get out there. Really don't want to take that fight because it'll probably mean the end of both of them. Very luckily for Falcons here, all 3 teams on the northern side are going to fight each other. Yup goes down in the middle of Moist and SSG, and NRG actually get zone wrapped here by Elevate and win the fight. Not only that, but it gets them to purples.
It does, and Falcons, they hit a rotate. Hal last standing between 2 golden knockdowns and plenty of nades to boot. 7 arc stars, 2 thermites, and 1 knuckle cluster. That's a lot of manpower that can come out of Fuse here, but we're gonna focus on hitting that res, but not until Guild full 0, but we still stick it. That's dedication.
They get 1 back up. Will this be enough for Falcons? Honestly, for them, job is done. 53 points. Falcons will join NRG on match point from our map 5 here. So, look, I mean, they almost made it in here safe, but unfortunately, some very good shots coming out from Moist on the tail end of their fight up north will make it a little bit harder for Falcons to get anything done here. And I think Hal, yeah, he's going to go down.
Well, there's that luck you were asking for. Liquid Alienware deals the finishing blow to Falcons. And before the res comes through, we're looking for a spot to place our Jenny, because here comes Not Moist, NRG chomping at the bits to also move into it. Fun FPS kind of left behind there just with some cover to watch out and make sure that Not Moist can't push up that route. And 30-30, I hear that's going to be brilliant for that mid-range. Walty's got to be careful.
Ooh, potentially a res coming in here. Yes, Team Liquid get it off just in time. And NRG don't look so good on the front end of this fight. Moist, they have a spot right next to the end of this circle, but I mean, there's trades going on, and that means they should get involved.
I'm not gonna lie, I love the ability to weave those fences together, but unfortunately, Fun knocked down. Reptar last standing, Not Moist coming in, swinging. We jump around the fence line, we deal the finishing blow, and we take map number 4.
Well, inspiring stuff there from the no longer majority Australian squad. I must say, sadly, well, unless you're including Draugr as well as the coach, I suppose. But it's still a team I'm going to be cheering for. And look, they gave us so much to enjoy there in that match. It was we didn't get to see the fight up north. That was probably the key one where they had to take on SSG. But after doing that, the rest of the teams in the lobby kind of just got locked their horns, and Moist was able to come in and sort of take advantage of that towards the end.
Yeah, once you start kind of opening those fights around those bins, you don't have a whole lot of cover. It's easy to lay siege to that. You can find those angles. And with the majority of people in our lobby like running Fuse and they just throw the knuckle clusters out, it can break someone down pretty quickly, which is why I love that Niazel was like looking for a spot to place the Jenny, albeit it was a little too late to try and make any kind of regain, but you know, still pretty solid. Yeah,
not too bad for them. And look, you know, this is pushing Moist further and further up the leaderboard. Again, they don't really need a win. They just need a solid performance. What was the it was like 12th or something, I can't remember, that they needed to get to guarantee them going through to the next set of playoffs. And they're looking very much on pace to be able to do that with a 24-point win here in game 4.
Wow, Walty gets his power back and then throws down in game. That's crazy to put a 24-point game down. NRG, although they went the distance, they got 12 points. They're on match point, and they did not win the game. Same can go for Falcons, who also hit that 50-point threshold. Let's go ahead and jump on over to that second page. TSM, Pioneers, Bleed. A lot of these teams that were looking for early rotates just unfortunately could not get it done. Specifically Luminosity, right? They take that fight against Falcons, which would have been a solid position. However, just a little too early for them. They could have zone wrapped back and maybe went for the NRG play that we saw Elevate do, but that would have been a distance.
I mean, I was getting pumped for Fluffy Aimers after that first game, but a donut here in game 4 means that they slip further behind. Going ahead, straight ahead though, we've got Liquid Alienware, 4k damage for them. Jaguares with 5 kills, not too bad. Guild bringing it up here in game 4. Look at that, 1700 damage, but more importantly, 8 kills. Guild, a lot of the time, has been, anchoring for Moist. He's a very careful player, someone who seems to only take fights when he knows he can win, and you can see here, he's converted that into a lot of kills for Moist.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Let's go ahead and look at the series results as NRG, 25 eliminations on the day, 60 total points. Team Falcons join them on match point. And now you got to think about it this way, Genome, because we just wrapped up 2 World's Edge and we're moving on to Storm Point, where they've had the majority of their wins throughout Split 2. So keep eyes on them. Not Moist, SSG kind of, and Cloud9 wrapping up the top 5. But Genome, is there anything in particular that you want to call out that you're just like, I think that they could be doing more by now?
Well, look, for the top two teams, certainly not that much, Tiff. They are having a phenomenal start to the day. To reach match point after 4 games is a great effort for anybody. And honestly, with how hot those 2 teams are looking, there's a couple of others who certainly could come up there off the back of it, but I don't think anyone would be surprised if Falcons finish this before before regulation time in game 6, essentially.
Ooh, so you're throwing your predictions out there technically. You're thinking that the Falcons are going to take it? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm staring at you.
Let's go. Falcons in 6.
Okay. All right, we'll see. We're going to cut to a quick break, and when we come back, will it be Falcons in 5? Will it be Falcons in 6? I don't know, but we're going to find out.
Battle Beaver is the official controller partner of the Apex Legends Global Series. Falcons in 6. That's the question as we go from overview to down into the caster booth. My name is Rain. I'm joined by Tiff yet again here to get us going for what could be the end of the tournament. NRG Falcons sit with a chance to close it all out if they win this game.
I mean, it would be really wild if NRG just kind of finish it here and now, because they would have won 3 out of the 5 games to do that.
Well, I actually think, Tiff, when you look at it, 3 out of the 5 games is what they would have done, but they put themselves in such a good position to play off of the momentum they already secured, right? And there's other teams that maybe are starting to get that momentum, and that's why it's a game of timing, isn't it? Game 4, we saw Moist start to wake up.
Yeah, like this is solid. Even with the zone wrap from Elevate, NRG just reads it and takes them down, and then everything kind of starts to correlate around this. But when we talk about NRG, and I looked back at like their placement leagues, the statistics throughout all of their maps, historically, I said, the only win that they obtained was on match day 1 in Stormpoint. Outside of that, they had 10 top 5 finishes. And for them to not only get 2nd place in that map just recently, like, I'm just like, what is happening?
Definitely, it's just the talent in this league is so important to highlight again and again and again, because it's not like all these other leagues aren't talented, but in this way where you point out, well, this is such a dangerous 3v3 fighting team. Well, this is such a dangerous 3v3 fighting team. Well, this is such a dangerous 3v3 fighting team. We could be talking about Not Moist. We could be talking about SSG. We could be talking about Falcons. We could be talking about NRG. You look at all of these teams, and there's just so much lethality to it, which means it's going to be about who executes, who puts themselves in a position to be lethal at the right time. Anybody who makes an early mistake, well, they're going to be paying for it, because it could be over in this game, Tiff. Also, if you're a little bit too cautious, you don't get to that zone aggressively enough, you might not have a chance at the end to do anything. So there's this fine line to walk, and it's game 5. Will NRG walk it? Will Falcons walk it? They've certainly set themselves up to either win or go home as disappointed. A lot of people thinking, well, the win could happen here.
Yeah, and I mean, if it stops here, where are you at on the leaderboard if you're outside the match point? Knowing that you're on the fringe of that 12th place position to lock in land, what does it do for you here if that scoreboard locks in after this game? Teams that were on the fringe aside from this, you know, NRG at the top of the leaderboard, but they came in 12th place. Cloud9, 11th place. Not Moist, 10th. And then you looked at the leaderboard, Not Moist is in 3rd, Cloud9's in 5th. They are doing everything that they can to make sure that when the day is over, they've got a ticket straight to Mannheim, Germany.
I mean, you look at a team maybe like, I don't know, if you look at KCP, 14th place, they're in 8th. You look at the opportunity for them to fall, because currently they're sitting in 14th. They're in 8th overall coming into this. They're sitting in 14th today. And teams like, obviously, Fluffy Aimers, they're performing well. A team like Oblivion, who is in 13th position, well, they're 6th place right now. If it ended right now, surely Oblivion would be able to jump up into that top 12, having placed 6th here today. If someone would fall, would it be KCP? Who would it be? We don't quite know, especially since NRG is also performing well. Cloud9 also performing well. Complexity might be a team that could worry a few, because they're, with 72 points, Tiff, but they're in 16th place right now. That would only net them 4 more points. So 78, if it ended now, 76, excuse me, would be the number to beat. And I see a lot of teams that could beat that.
That's what's scary. Exactly. As we get a good look at where that zone is pulling to, Liquid Alienware will reap the benefits of an easy rotation for them. Even Cloud9 hailing as they move out of that Jurassic. Oblivion making that quick rotate from Cedo. But you have to start to wonder, Complexity, if they are in 16th place, knowing that they were in that 9th place position coming into today, you have to be so worried about dropping. And like, this has been such a substantial split too, and Monsoon has had those pop-off moments, but maybe if we're under threat of it ending here, we need to have a pop-off moment. We need to have it this game.
Yeah, and you just I think a 10th would almost be confident for them, but a 14th to 19th, that starts to be a little scary. As we see the map coming down as well, we'll keep you updated on the situations, the scenarios. Really, there's this battle to make it. It's a little less stressful for those who are trying to jump in, because there are chances. Obviously, anyone who wins is going to be going to Mannheim, Germany. But it's also a battle at the top. But speaking of that battle of maybe just desperation, a team that needs a temper, flat, fighting against each other right now. Evac tower goes up. Is that for the Fuse ult? Could be. Big Louie might pop it. It's actually looking like it's more for the rotation. Fusel already been used in the engagement. Nano Fry's going to continue moving over the rock, heading towards Barometer and trying to secure a spot because it is an early Barometer zone, Tiff. So priority position looking to be grabbed by Flat.
Yeah, Barometer's on fire right now. Complexity rolls in just towards the lower angle, and Liquid Alienware is at the top. You know they're going to be looking to come on up here. Lou has already dropped a knock onto Akimbo, and here comes Blinksers, and Oblivion has fallen. Liquid Alienware now have this time to reset, but they're not going to get a lot of it as that focus of attention does connect, but Complexity is not going to push off that.
What a big difference that change to that ability made, not allowing revives when it first came out. Obviously Flat under a lot of duress, but you can imagine just that if that would have canceled the revive there, I mean, it's how powerful Seer was. Plus it did 10 damage as well. It's like, you know, insult to injury. You're already silencing me, you're canceling my revives, you're canceling my shield batteries, and you're just gonna hit me with 10 damage too? I mean, it's not even significant damage. You're just doing it because you can. And of course that
I smiled through the pain of that.
You had to.
Like, yeah. I don't miss it at all, but I love to see the reworks come through. And now we've just turned into one of those things where everyone is starting to run it after those mid-season patch changes that came through for Bloodhound. You've got exhibits galore, but as we kind of get a look at where some of our teams are, more in particularly some of our teams that are on match point. The squad on your screen, NRG, they've got that next zone information. And when you think about getting into Barometer, Rain Day, once everyone has kind of moved in and trying to cross that open water, it can be so difficult.
It's a very hard zone to move into late. It's not an impossible one, though. There are a few, you know, I say maybe Cenote Cave is a little harder to move in because there's just so many choke points into this small island. Barometer's got a lot of open water around it. So while it might not be a winning position, there's a lot of stuff that can happen during rotations, during zone 3, 4, that can give you an opportunity to execute on a play. Falcons have traditionally done well in this zone. In some of the scrims earlier this week, out of the 2 Barometer zones they faced, they were in the final zone, top 3 in both of them. One a second place and another a second place. That last second place, though, they were killed by none other than CEO, or COO as I'm calling him now, Verhulst. And TSM also mirrored that match, fighting by that gravity cannon that you could see to your left there in this beautiful overview of where this is. So will that end up being a little bit of a premonition of what's to come here? Will we see Falcons find a secure spot? They're certainly in zone, ready to go. So are NRG. So 2 of our match point teams feeling pretty confident right now, at least where they're positioned.
Look, I've seen Hal and them win a zone from this particular area, especially around that bamboo. It ended in the water. There was like a rock, and it was DZ versus TSM at that point. So we'll be curious to see now that we've got them under the helm of the Falcons, if they can actually take a win, if it does tend to pull out towards that side of things. For NRG, we've still got them working towards this spider cave out towards the west of Barometer, neighboring Cenote, and I like this rotation for them. It allows them to make sure they're on blue, they get some of that smart loot. We've got utility, we've got our ults up, but what do we do to like kind of close this gap of the open water, knowing that teams have been on the high ground? You see where Luminosity has poised themselves. Like, it's going to be kind of tough because everyone's going to be looking at that.
Well, they're actually going to get some information. This is a great note. NRG are running into the zone to scan the ring. And as they do this, as this closes, they'll get the next ring available. So they'll have even more information on where this is going to pull. And you can see it right there. It's going to pull exactly to where Falcons are. So NRG know, instead of trying to flank down that southern side, which might have been the more typical approach, they're going to have to play northwest, maybe even north, and run into TSM. Because right now, TSM from Cedo, they also have a really good spot in command of that choke on one side or the other, to be able to hold it off against the teams who are rotating. But as we mentioned, NRG gathering information, let's see what they say to each other about that information they've just gathered and how they're going to make use of it.
Can we play that island early, like the rock island?
Let's check out.
I've seen people do it, but I'm not sure.
Balloon east.
We're not Watson. What?
Yeah, balloon on the bridge.
Wait, they're taking it. They're taking it. Wait, why? Let them go. Let them go. No. I hit 50 blue.
Yeah, they know we're behind us now. Are we?
Yeah. We have to kind of force them out. We should go from spider side in, I think.
We can go.
Okay, no, we can play this way. Play this way.
Okay, I was gonna say we can play nut in after.
Yeah.
Not great, but
I'm down, I guess. They're in nut. They're in nut. We need to take bridge then. We need to take bridge.
Yep, heard.
I'm full forcing it.
Yep.
Grab the car if you can and move it in. Fun.
Yep.
You got it.
I'm gonna sell and grab it.
There is a team north, by the way, from Cedo side, so we have to be careful with that.
Okay. Yeah, we have to hold off for northwest. Yeah.
Yep. I'm watching south.
Okay. I need to try to do nice. I need to try to do damage and get my purple.
I got my purple.
Nice. I'm 200 off.
Fun.
So.
Can you watch northwest?
I'm 80 off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge up. So I'm
both of you watch northwest, I think.
I need to do 80 damage.
Okay. Fine. I'll watch northwest then.
If I can get purple before those guys move in, that'd be big.
Yep. We just need to know if they're straight lining us, by the way. Like this team, they're not really comfy.
Yeah, they're not.
We have to be careful of west though. Fun. Like both me and you watch it, please.
Yeah, I got rid of their doors.
Okay. Should I play like over here?
This is way better. There we go.
Cannon. I have to watch west though.
On the left side of cannon.
I kind of need to like take prio on fuck, man.
Do you want to trade me? I mean, I'm not getting damage.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I think you need to play over here, rep though.
Yeah.
I think you need to like. Yeah.
I was trying to watch the net team to make sure they don't run over.
Play over here, and I need to force the cannon guy off.
Alright, heard.
And NRG caught between two difficult decisions. Nothing seems perfect either way, and that's the difficulty of it. Tiff, there really isn't anything perfect to do. Teams already in front of them on either side. So it's just a matter of them choosing what they're going to do and make that play, of course, and also Reptar trying to join them on a purple.
We just need to connect one of these amped up Sentinel shots. Maybe to the head would make it a little bit easier. Fun, though. You can see he's watching that northwest side of things. And before we cut away, lost a significant amount of damage. We'll check in with that later because Elevate getting Mixie over here at Cedo. Time is of the essence. You can see that round 2 ring is closing. The grapple to the roof. Kind of oversee the res here onto Zach Mazer. Still looking for fulls. Time is of the essence. We got 2 eliminations, but a squad that needs to perform well here in the regional finals, knowing that they came into this in 15th place.
Yeah, this is definitely a team we would like to see, and they would like to see themselves as well jump up. It would be a great story, especially if E8. Just a journey for Zach getting into the split too. Remember, as teams started to shift, trialing out a lot of his team members from E8 and going to different squads, losing Shubi, losing Zap to TSM. That E8 roster was looking so good, but just that LAN couldn't get over the hump of being contested early on and often, and now had to create a new identity. But Zach Mazer has felt like he's redefined what Mazer moments mean to be these clutch, excellent showcases of what he can really do as a player. He's done it already in this game, getting a top 3 earlier on World's Edge. Can he do it again here as we take a look also at TSM, who are looking at E8 and Zapto, and I was just speaking of on your cameras just now. As we go back to Barometer, where the action is, teams on the backside, Tiff, trying now to rotate towards the middle of Barrow, where this zone is going to end.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, right? So you've got to hit a good rotate in, and there's some space here that they'll be able to play. But in terms of getting towards that building and what's in towards that next zone, look at what Team Falcons have done, though. They're split holding 2 of the main buildings that are in that next circle, which if they can hold on to that, it's going to deny a lot of these teams space. We've already invested an exhibit that's out there. Team Liquid Alienware is going to be in the center. We have Guares down. Yanya about to join them, but gets under the cover. We retrieve the banner, and we need to reset. With 17 squads still up, it's going to be very difficult.
Reptar finds a kill in the kill feed with the Sentinel, so feels like maybe he's got to that purple. They've survived. You can see it just there. Bleed Esports still holding above. Falcons inside the building, though. One of our match point teams. They've got to hold up against this. Lots of damage on Al. Return right back to Jin Burton. They get it down early onto Keon. This is Furia, and that's it. Furia eliminated that quickly. Falcons hold on yet again. They're still in a great position, just holding on the north side of zone. A lot of teams in front of them. Will they push in? You see to your right, NRG, Bleed, going to be coming the direction of Falcons down south, but behind them is TSM and E8. So much pressure is going to be coming from this north side southward. It's going to be a crazy next zone, Tiff.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. And where Elevate Gaming has found themselves, yes, they have to dive underneath, but what Bleed has done is they played forward and fenced off that area that Elevate will need to come through. For SSG in 4th place, 29 points, still trying to make sure that they can section off a piece of this, because Not Moist, we last saw them in Barometer, kind of looking for playable space. And the likelihoods of them trying to rotate through SSG, well, that was looking good until Koi decided, no more. Pioneers and Not Moist back to the lobby.
SSG, a team we have been talking about hand in hand with Falcons. They've actually been the team that would have contested the super team so much in this earlier part of the split that we thought, well, are they super? Yeah, they started to separate themselves with the consistency. That's why we're still considering things like Falcons in 5, Falcons in 6. But do not count SSG out. Just a Pioneer, and Utah Esports as an org, also just good peeps as well. Big shout out to Sean Duras and the team over there. Been with them through many iterations of games I've been involved in, and great rep here in Apex as well. NRG starting to make their move, Tiff. 13 squads left, all on purple. So far, the dream is still alive.
Gotta close through the water, and if we can, save the smokes for the very end. I just heard one get expended, so maybe we've already banked another to be used at a time where it is going to be critical. Reptar up ahead scouting, hits for 88, gets a shield crack there, which is gonna be nice, but it does give information of them kind of rotating in from this angle, and is likely going to warrant a little bit of punishment.
Going to be interesting here too. The pressure that Falcons have or give towards NRG, because right now Falcons are spread. They're taking a lot of space. NRG are dealing with Bleed, but if Falcons, as they love to do, try to get some KP, try to just pressure out if they see some lone rangers, well, NRG could be in trouble. You see the shots kind of ringing past Reptar, so that they know they've got to play these angles just so perfectly well. 33 on the G7 scout, hits once, will reload. Nothing more from that from Knock, the IGL. Looking down the sight, sees a team flying above. That's TSM. Elevate Gaming also flying as well. Bleed Esports, the ones running in front of them. Shooting, missing most of those bullets, but gonna hit a few, you would assume.
You can do it. I have faith.
Still, just the pressure's probably enough to ward them away from the direction NRG wants them to run.
If only they were a little bit magnetic. No, see, this is why you save the smokes for a time when you most need them. He just finesses his way under a little cover, hits that shield bat, and we're okay for now. But you have to turn your attention more directly towards the main buildings, the Falcons in particular, being sieged now by Complexity. Cloud9 has fallen, and now that the circle has collapsed, we can see where it will pull towards, as NRG still trying to stabilize around the rocks.
Far from done, but top 10. You got to feel happy about that. You've given yourself a chance. 2 teams that are on match point, still alive in this one. Fun, taking more damage. Knock rotating yet again, saying, let's play here on me. The Fuse ultimate goes up, shield battery as well. Who's looking out for him? It looks like Reptar's maybe having a peek. Knock only that left. Bleed still mirroring them on the northern side. Falcons, the best thing that happened was Complexity started trying to get maybe a little bit of that space, and so Falcons could not look at NRG as they rotated. But keep in mind, LG was that team who was throwing nades and from the south making it difficult. Let's go up on top with Falcons, though. Tiff, as they are in the middle of a firefight and trying desperately to stay alive. Jim Burton's lost all his shield.
Well, you gotta remember, they were split holding this, and then TSM flew in, ripped one of the buildings from them, and now Bleed Esports is looking to make a play for this. TSM is just holding on to a mere amount of space onto this right side, but the Falcons have regained control of what is the priority building. For NRG, it's going to open the door under all of the chaos for them to just kind of move right in, but job's not done because they're still on the outskirts.
LG Liquid Alien, we're also alive. Yup, as well alive. A team that desperately wants to win this thing to have a chance to continue their dream of getting to Germany, but they would have to win. You would almost assume a second place might be enough, but that would mean that the day doesn't end right here. We will play 6 games, but a winner can be decided here in 5. With NRG still alive as well. Fun FPS on the Fuse, staring down in the building across. It's none other than Falcons, who that knuckle cluster is hitting. But underneath, Complexity, underneath, yup, And LG all to the side. What role will they have to play here? Well, you're going to see it right here. Oh my goodness, bleed. Drop goes down. Lou finds one. NRG, fun. Looks like he's going to fall. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. He's still alive. A shield swap as well. Somehow NRG is here. They're still fighting for their lives, but surely, yes, surely they will go down.
They just all drop on them. Falcons, red shields up on top, ignored by absolutely everyone because they're just focusing on that position and denying anyone from rotating into that building. You do see luminosity across the way, which could be really interesting. And yes, that was tough. That was a heartbreak right there. I'm not gonna lie for NRG.
Falcons in the same building they were in at the beginning. This team was called a super team because they risked it all. Hal left the dynasty of TSM. Zero and Jin Burton left Dark Zero and the most dominant group performance we had ever seen in LA just a few months back. And they joined up. They created a lot of people who were against them. A lot of people would be happy if they didn't do this one. But I'm sure those three players who believed in themselves above all else, would be happy because the only thing they care about is a win as Sykes goes down. Jim Burton picks him off as he's treading water, and now Sweet has a chance to try to get him back. Falcons on reds, 4 squads left with a chance to win it.
All right, well, let's full send it. Keep your eyes on Luminosity, though, as they've already sent one player over. The rest have joined. One solo Yup member left standing. The focus of a contention. It goes on out, and now Luminosity is just down there in the NRG death zone. Complexity has fallen. We're on 10 for Luminosity, though.
Imperial Hal finds one. Yup eliminated. Could this be it? It's 2 squads left. It's just Jin Burton, Zero, and Imperial Hal against the world. The Falcons, they look like they've done it. And they have. The super team claims the win. They are on top of the ALGS as they told you they would be. It is manifest destiny for Falcons.
That's great. Yeah, the Falcons! Woo! I'm so sorry. I'm thinking back to the predictions that all of our talent team did at the top of the show. And they're like, you know, to no surprise ever, I've got Falcons. And then Genome, you know, we just cast the last game and he's like, I got Falcons in 6. And then I see one message pop up. I misspoke.
Yeah.
I meant Falcons in 5.
I mean, I got to say, the moment here is not to be passed over. Because whether you're watching right now on Hal's stream, whether you're watching on Zero stream or Jin Burton stream, or you're watching on any watch party, you're watching here in the commentary, the impact of the statement that's just been made here. Obviously, Germany is maybe the big show we're going to really count. But the statement made here has just been one of confidence I have almost not really seen in a lot of professional aspects. These guys said, we are the best. We have no doubt that we can throw everything away, start again, and still be the best. And they did it. And they did it in a way that it's just been undeniable all season long. There's a reason they were the winners. It's a testament to that level of confidence, Tiff. And even if you're overconfident, sometimes it's a good thing in these types of situations because results are really, sometimes you have to just believe in yourself when nobody else does.
Everyone believes in them. At least for the majority of people that I know, there's a lot of people that do believe in the Falcons. However, a lot of people do like to hate super teams. They do like to think on that. But at the end of the day, everything that you just said is so accurate. Those boys put in so much time, so much effort. Zero's now streaming, doing VOD reviews after ALGS days and doing all these different things. We already know how many hours Hal in particular has put into this game. And then Jen Burton, locking into the Seer and just playing it extraordinarily. They deserve that for sure. However, I want to chat about NRG coming into this as we pull up the match results because NRG were also on match point. And throughout leading up to regional finals, right? They had some of the most tough performances out of that entire roster to rebound back. And yes, they left in 5th place here. And that's okay. But it's still enough to secure them, hopefully, to Germany.
You will have to see as we take a look at the way things have ended after 5. We will play 6. And for those who are wondering, we need 6 for the rest of the teams to decide where they stand and qualify for heading into Germany. They still give overall season points, the positions after 6 for this, but we will not play one more. And I think just to add to that Team Falcons statement, you know, obviously you put 3 of the best, most historied, most land-winning players on the same team, you know, you expect to win, but that's 1 out of 19, Tiff. And to be so good, to guarantee in a level of players at this level, to say, yeah, of course we're going to be 1 out of 20, we're going to be lifting that trophy. Any other position is a failure for them. So to actually get that first place, talk that talk, walk that walk, that's still impressive, no matter, in my opinion, how many people know how good of a team this is, because you look at how well NRG are playing, you look at the quality of teams here. I mean, anybody can win. We know the professional caliber here, but yeah, it was truly just Falcons all split too long. I think people probably better get used to this team staying.
You really do. I feel like I've been saying Falcons so much in general over the past 2 months, not only in Apex Legends. I have just been watching Team Falcons in general just dominate whatever they set their sights to. So to end it here in 5 maps, phenomenal stuff here.
It just is so amazing, you know, what can happen in the ALGS match point format. Always exhilarating. And guess what? If you want to see more of it, well, I know the exact spot for you. Mannheim, Germany. Falcons booked their ticket. We already know who will be the other 11 teams joining them. Well, let's check out the event that you should be excited about watching in August.
Welcome back, everyone. You thought it was over? Sorry to say, it's not. And Team Falcons, they take it in 5 Genome. I cannot believe it. They did it, but also I can't believe it. Look at the amount of kills that they're farming. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. Just Hal was literally farming. He has like 18 total kills, 8,000 damage over the course of the 5 games. But you know what, guys? While you're here, and if you want to see Team Falcons in action and to perform live, guess what? Make sure to stay tuned for Split 2 playoff ticket purchases. It is going to be absolutely insane. Tickets will be available soon, so you absolutely do not want to miss out on all the action. Don't forget to check out algs.ea.com for more information. It's insane to say, after 5 games, Genome, we get to close the book on our match point regional final in NA team to take the dub as we take a look at some of these match 5 highlights.
So this is that ending, or actually, no, a little bit earlier than that. And you can see, okay, skipping ahead. We can see NRG went down here, man. This was tough to watch from Fun's perspective, actually not hitting a lot of shots, and that essentially kind of ended their chance to be the one who walked away with it in 5. And NRG, honestly, they were pretty close. Falcons, they played that main building and then they moved over to the coffin quite late. And you know, that was exactly how you needed to do it. That's where the zone was shifting. If you play the coffin early, you get slaughtered. It does end up indeed being your casket, but playing in the later stages is just doable if you're a team of the quality of the Falcons.
Yeah, and they timed that rotate to take that building so fast there too, ahead of the likes of what we saw from NRG when they had to force their rotate in a much more difficult position, but then taking game number 5 in such a decisive way while we still stick onto Storm Point. You may be wondering, well, Falcons won regional finals, why are we going on to another game? Well, guess what? Even though there's a huge gap between our first 2 squads, NRG and Falcons, NRG sitting at 67 points, and Not Moist is right behind them in 3rd with 36 points. That is a huge gap, but you want to be able to squeeze as many points as possible to see who of our top 12 teams will be going over to Germany. We know 100%, even if Falcons didn't play today, they were going to be making it into Split 2 playoffs, but they have to take the dub. On top of it all, just so that way they let everybody know, performing in the ALGS from all different regions, that they're here to show up for Germany, and we still got one more game to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think they pretty much had first place locked in as well. So,
yeah,
you know, they knew they had the 20K to their name, and that's why this last game is also a little bit important because, well, it's a little bit important for some teams. It's very important for others.
Yeah.
Some teams are just playing for placement within our Pro League split in North America. It'll change their placement. It'll change their seed for LAN. It'll change how much money they win from the Pro League split. But of course, that ever-present thing that we're keeping our eyes on is who makes it into the top 12 for the NA region. Now we know that Falcons have locked in number 1. No one else is getting a golden ticket. So it really just is up to the overall standings and making your way into that top 12.
Look at this ghost town. Where'd Falcons go? Oh, that's right. They won, so they're not even here at their POIs. The checkpoint is completely empty. Falcons will not be playing in this 6th game, so we will have 19 squads in this lobby. But I love how you highlight the monetary stakes at hand here, Gino, because like you said, no one else is going to be claiming that first place spot, obviously. That's $20,000 going in favor for Team Falcons. It is a $125,000 prize pool that is spread out between our competitors. Obviously, our top 12 looking at 12th place, all the way from 10th to 12th place, walking away with 3K. 9th place will be having 4K, as well as 8th place here. But in that first, all the way down to 4th place will be walking away with 9K. So being able to get these extra points for this final game is going to mean a lot here for the teams that aren't even going to be playing for placement per se, maybe playing as a kill race to get as much KP as possible, maybe deny that from other squads, like if you look at NRG or our teams that are sitting right there on the cusp of our top 12 from being able to qualify or from being able to place into the money even further.
Oh, we're so on the same wavelength, Vicky. I was just about to start talking. Yeah, it's like, you know, what is going to happen in this last game? It's going to be a little bit crazy because usually in match point, there's always this tension, right? That the game could keep going. We just need to play for the win. We need to play to, you know, to keep things trucking on. But this time, because Falcons are just too damn good, the rest of the lobby knows this is their last chance to get points. If you're slightly ahead of a rival who you need to, you know, finish ahead of in the Pro League split, maybe you just like full send it at them because you know if you win that 3v3, that's it, that's done. You know, maybe you can lock in a higher placement in the split than them. There's a lot of funky things that can happen here because, you know, Falcons might be locked in for LAN for sure, but there's a lot of other teams that are as well, and who knows what kind of chaos they're going to cause here.
Exactly, and that's why you could probably see some funky things that may go down in this lobby here. Last chance opportunity. We know that NRG feeling pretty safe now as they were on the cusp in 12th place, but seeing their progress for today has just been absolutely amazing. Though you gotta look at teams like Oblivion, Board, Elevate, how they've been doing thus far and what they could do for this final game if they could get any extra points to put them and keep them safe in the overall standing. Not even thinking about teams like, you know, Furia, who basically have already punched their ticket in here too, but who are sitting on the bottom end of the overall standings within this lobby.
Exactly. Look, the Falcons fans, they're already off, you know, having a beer, having a good time, celebrating, right? But there's still a lot of fans out there who have got their nails, you know, biting their nails right now, wondering if their team will make it to LAN. Still quite a few teams down there on the cusp of getting through or not.
I do want to highlight with Flat coming into play and knowing that this is the last game, they were trying out the Revenant, the Wraith, not really working out for a team who's sitting in dead last. Unfortunate here while we take a look at more squads who are making their rotate. We saw earlier on that this circle is pulling very similar to a circle that we saw at the very beginning, Genome, over to that north side of Pylon by No Name that exits out of Jurassic Park while Space Station trying to take this fight.
Space Station. Well, they're obviously further up in the standings and should be okay regardless. Temper, we also talked about them being one of those teams that had to get the first place finish. Now all of a sudden, you know, what's their thought process going to be when that incentive is being taken away from them?
When you're feeling the pressure like that here too, Space Station sitting in 4th place overall with 34 points, but like we highlighted, there was a quite big gap between the rest of the lobby and NRG. Now that Falcons is not present, they are going to be able to get that cleanup onto Temper here, onto 2 members of Temper, leaving 1 still alive, 18 squads left, but here comes a third party coming in from Flat.
Okay, teams, if they need the KP, they're just going to have their ears attuned. Any shots that they hear ring out, they'll be making a beeline straight for that location. They have to come and grab as many as they can, especially for a team like Flat. They're currently sitting in 18th spot. They want to improve that position, and they're going to get involved in this.
Yeah, gotta give them A for effort with trying out the Revenant here, trying to make the magic happen as Liquid Alienware, a team that everybody had in their sights here too. Yanya with the hipfire shots, lovely follow-up from Hawadis, being able to get Mamba knocked. Gonna be able to try to get the reset here with the shield bat. You can see Liquid Alienware healing from right down below, but while this action has not stopped over by this south side, you can only imagine who's around here. It's gonna be an isolated fight. They don't have to worry about a third party, instead just trying to clean this up before they rotate into that circle. Oh. Yeah. They don't see it.
All right.
Nothing to see.
Crawling. Keep crawling. This is like the Jerry tactic from Rick and Morty. It's like I just kept crawling and it just kept working.
Oh man, but when you got a seer to deal with, the anti-rat strat comes through for Liquid. Talk about repositioning though from Flat, who are now taking 2 different angles at shooting at Liquid. The reason why we're seeing this isolated fight happen too by the south side and why you don't see these squads by the north side really get involved yet is because there is a ring console here. So these teams not only fighting for that information, but also if they see some easy third-party opportunity, you know they're going to capitalize. And I'm thinking LG in the distance have rotated from Jurassic through Pylon where they had a ring console, and now after hearing the shots, wanted to show their face for this fight too.
Oh, these teams have just taken the longest time to get this fight over and done with. Billy Joel singing in the background here as LG pull up and say, well, you guys are a bit silly. Don't know why you're sitting in zone taking this fight, but that's going to make it really easy for us while we sit on this hill and pick you apart.
Oh, they know they're healing up here too, just waiting in the distance on the other side of this hill. As they creep up, they know the ring console is right there. They're looking at Liquid before the 3-2-1 comes in here for Funk to follow up with Sweet. They don't get the knock right away, but they know that they're feeling the pressure since they're still taking that slight little tick damage that the circle provides, but it is that first ring.
Yeah, the damage isn't too worrisome from the ring itself, but if you get into a spot where you start struggling, it can be a little harder. You can see Nano just pulling off the med kit there. There's still another team in the area, by the way. Like it's Liquid and Flat are still there. It's not like they're just, you know, sitting here healing up by themselves and trying to wait LG out. The fight technically is kind of still on.
It's literally Nano who is the solo that is alive for Flat. They don't have a support legend too, right? They can't just res with a replicator. They're gonna have to pick up those banners. While that action has been taking its time over by the south side, you're gonna be able to see teams like TSM now flying in from the distance, flying over not just 4 teams, it's like 6-7 teams that are looking at them right now to try to find some space inside what is left of the middle of this final circle.
Yep, you can see they've got that scanned as well. The information very much well aware here as Reps decides to go for the Reckless upgrade there. Level 3 for TSM. They are directly in the middle. They've got everything to play for here, TSM. Very much towards the top of the standings. It's been, you know, it's crazy to think how far ahead Team Falcons are, maybe even SSG, when looking at how TSM's gone. And it's kind of hard to think that, you know, this is actually the team that's sitting third in the standings right now.
We really are having one of those stare-offs here. Oh, he wants it. Waiting for it. Post it up.
No!
Oh, no!
Rampage moment.
Ain't no way. And that's with Monsoon griefing somebody with the charge rifle right in front of Timmy's eyes. But is it Himothy here as now he's forced to reposition? They know exactly where he is. Rampage in hand, having to now find him, though he still gets the crack nonetheless. Monsoon gets taken out, but it wasn't at Timmy's hands. It was Dupe in the distance with the knuckle cluster.
Man, that is absolutely 100% consistent with my experience of the Rampage, like every time, man. You like your crosshair is like directly on them and the bullets just like go to Narnia.
I slap with that gun.
Really?
I slap with the Rampage.
Oh man,
that gun goes
she's just
crazy. I love that weapon, especially when you have it charged up and you know somebody wants to hide behind the door, so you blast the doors open with the charge up Rampage. But anyways, not something we obviously see within the weapon compositions and the meta that we've been witnessing with the Havoc, that even with that slight nerf to, you know, obviously being utilized as the most consistent weapon alongside the Hemlock. Talk about also other squads now rotating in this direction of the circle, with LG holding that command center side over on the north side of Jurassic Park. But Elevate and Board on the distance, now noting that they're going to have to be moving closer into that circle.
Yeah, they are trying to hold out on that western edge here, Vicky, but Moist, well, you know, just it's Timmy, I suppose. And then LG are also in the vicinity. All kind of pulling away from each other at the moment. And pulling away from Yup in those buildings, who is... We do see most teams split hold when they're going into those two particular buildings. Just seems to be the, you know, unless there's like, it's a, you know, a zone 5, zone 6 kind of situation where everyone's pulling up. Yeah, you generally don't coexist with someone else, as you can see Yup sort of bouncing back and forth between the two.
Even not Moist still alive with Timmy, just holding on to the sliver of hope to get some extra points on the board for this squad. Incredibly important here, seeing that they were one of the teams that could have been at risk of being on that cusp. They were sitting in 10th place before today on top of C9 and NRG, wanting to be able to put any extra points here since they are right now behind NRG in second place with 38 points. But we know, Genome, that gap between all these other squads is not very big. It's like a 2-point difference between a lot of our other teams here. C9 holding the south side, trying to gatekeep Weave.
C9, they were the ones probably most at risk at this point of falling out of that top 12, Vicky. NRG have, I would say, almost certainly done enough, even though they were 12th position coming into today with a stellar, you know, couple of wins there. But C9, not so much. So, you know, do they have to worry about Oblivion or Elevate? I guess those guys haven't done all that much. Maybe it's a team like Fluffy Aimers. If they can pull off a game similar to game 1 here, maybe they start to leapfrog.
Oh, C9 with these Hemlock shots gets the knock and throws out the bang ult to be the nail in the coffin, as KCP actually just may do that for them as they wrap up right behind Carter. C9 having to reposition here in the distance. So many other teams in the south side, because Liquid are also currently looking at them and actually may wrap around behind C9 to sandwich them.
Ooh, yeah, that would be very rough timing for C9. I wonder if they're aware of this threat. None of them currently looking in that direction. They're just heading away from Pioneers. And, okay, they're getting settled now. Can they dodge the nades? This is looking very chaotic, as it were.
Everybody look at me. The exhibit is up. KCP had gotten that knock originally onto Chaotic, and Stay Naughty got knocked by the Rolling Thunder. Although Liquid have not moved anywhere. If anything, they're now currently focusing on this third party, and LG distracts them, pulls away their attention, because while this fight is currently happening, Furia have now come in for the fourth party behind C9.
And C9, I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to stand here. I think they're done for. Fury are looking for an extra couple of points. It's been a quiet day for them, but a stellar split overall.
Lovely to see here, too. Trying to get as many points as possible after Falcons sponged it all up. KCP get eliminated flat, meet them back in the lobby. 12 squads left, and Furia with those ziplines that they made too, just so that way they could retake the high ground here. Timmy is still alive in the distance. Crazy as Elevate also meet their maker. Yup, with only Osivian left alive. Looking at the action happening right in front of him in this exhibit. Board is on the other side here alongside with Yup. But see if Osivian can try to get this reset on the res.
11 squads left. I would not be surprised if this game ended earlier than usual, considering that we know, like, yeah, there's all these teams that just have to be hunting for kills. They know that's, you know, perhaps their only way to move up a slot in the Pro League standings, maybe to make it to land. So teams definitely going at it right here, and Furia finally putting the pedal to the metal.
Well, losing out on Madness right now. No shield swaps, it looks like, for Vax, as he's going to be forced to pop the shield back, but in the line of sight of NRG, looking to not only hold a split positioning on the right side of this map, but they're in the circle, rather, but now they also are looking to clean up what is left of this fight beyond Keon.
Keon just chucks up an 07 and says, thanks, Nock, for the nade there. Couldn't quite get him behind the knockdown shield. Appreciate that one. After that, maybe even gets back in for the reses. No one's really looking this way. NRG, I think they got the team wipe and were like, well, that's our job done.
Just another day at work here. Clean up on aisle 7, as Fury are going to be able to try to also get what they need. They're on the edge of the circle. Unfortunately for them, they cannot get Vax, but they can at least get his banner. We saw exactly where NRG was positioned, though, and since they have the high ground, they aren't going to fully overcommit to prevent Bleed from wrapping up behind them, because Bleed is on that northern building that leads to the zips. But they're looking at all this action happening here as the catwall has been brought up, and Board involved on the west side of the circle are right in front of TSM.
They've got a good spot to try and deal some damage to Yup here, and they do. Yup goes down. And now they turn their sights, their attentions to TSM, but taking some rough cross-map shots there. I think that was LG, but yeah, you can see Zapto actually managing to get the fin with their Hemlock.
On the KP here, TSM holding both of these buildings. You see TSM denying that from Board as we take a look at NRG, who are also staring at Bleed. Let's jump into a listening with NRG as they focus down on Bleed Esports.
Left is red. If they get into, we might want to end left, bro.
Okay, down. Call it then. Call it up.
Yeah. I mean, they're on the front cannon right now.
They just died.
Dead. Top 5.
The res still got respawn. So.
Okay.
But I think they.
It's all 3 mins.
Yep.
They move over to the.
Can I walk up on this?
Yeah. They're coming back to their gen. They're coming back.
Okay.
See, there's something outside. Never mind.
He's gonna they
might Bengals us back. Yeah, they are.
They did.
We can play forward on their wall.
Okay, I'm setting up. They got scanned.
Yep. My Bengal back on them. Yep. Yeah, no. On me. 100.
I'm throwing 0. I have to.
They're gonna slide at me.
So many arcs.
I'm just dead.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that dead sliding.
They're coming over now.
Yep.
Yeah, they're sliding your way.
Well, Nocturnal tries to get out on his own as they lose the fight against Bleed Esports here, but look, it's job done for NRG at this point, so you know, you're not hearing a particularly high amount of frustration out of them there. It's been a rough start to the year, but they're looking to bring it back here and give themselves a chance at redemption when we get to Mannheim.
Right, the day that it matters the most, and they really did show up with 74 points. They're still alive right now with Noct playing this out as a solo. TSM, again, still holding both of these buildings together at the same time, but they've had to give up that other building to Board, sharing the space with Bleed currently. They wrap up on the other side. Nice angle for Reps. He gets the crack, but does not want to overextend.
Smart player like that. TSM have held onto this building for pretty much the whole game by being patient. can see they're pinging across the walkway there. Border across from them. You've got Nocturnal underneath, Bleed on top, and then it's Furia hiding behind the rocks on the other side. Actually, probably in the best spot out of all of these teams. So a couple of good fights from them early on, and they're going to look to close this one out.
Board looking through the holes of this cat barrier, right through the doorway. Bleed looking to see if they can catch TSM aboard. Also on the other side of this building for this final circle starts closing in. Bleed have the high ground here. This is a great opportunity for Bleed to get all the extra points that they also need. Bow check in hand of Noct. Nice angle here, but doesn't get that last shot, but still gets the crack with the Havoc. They cannot give up this high ground since they're also looking behind them at board.
Ooh. And he does manage to catch Knock out of position there, so that's going to be NRG's day done. Job done also. 8 kills currently for Bleed Esports. It's a nice little pick up there. Can they get the win as well?
Seeing as Furia are out of the fray. A great spot to not get pinched here. Circle closing in. TSM holding the other angle to prevent Bleed or Board from maybe trying to creep their way up. Playing on the outskirts of the circle, you can see the knuckle cluster just dealing just enough pressure from reps before they drop into the evac tower, just so that way they could try to jump on top of the building, jump over to the other side, gain some distance. Furia again just looking at them, and they're about to pop the evac tower into the motherlode to give them all the vision of the teams remaining in the lobby.
Okay, you can see quite a few nades in the inventory there of Madness. And as this circle pushes the team away from the safety of their pylon, now is the time to start letting them rip. Any team with a motherlode available is going to start using that on the evac tower, as pretty much everyone gets the wall hacks. But you've got to remember, hitting a seer Q in this situation is so impactful as it locks teams out from their abilities.
Bleed drop down here, get the vision that they possibly can with our 3 squads left. Shubi, though, is incredibly low. The take damage from the knuckle cluster. Verhos is still alive. He can't get away. Furia in the best position as much as they could hold on that low ground. Come out on top and win our last game within the regional finals for North America.
Hold up, TSM actually, did they just move themselves up to second place with that? Look, that's what I saw on the top bar. I'm just reading the screen, Vicky.
They had 10 KP. They had 10 KP, and they got the placement points, and getting second place on top of the 10 KP out here. Absolutely got to see how that plays out, because it was not Moist, I believe, that was sitting in that second place spot behind NRG. Of course, we're not adding Team Falcons into the equation for a final game like this. But if anybody was wondering, once again, to reiterate, playing out that last game is incredibly important, because we're playing to see which teams have finally solidified their ticket into Split 2 playoffs, as well as for a monetary gain.
Monetary gain, yeah. Isn't that why we're all here? I don't know about you. I'm here for the passion, Vicky.
Yeah, Passion UA, that's a different region, okay, Genome? They did also make it into Germany, though, as we bring back in Rain to help break down the action for that final game. Rain, Furia, they take the dub, 12 extra points on top of a nice sprinkle of KP that they're able to achieve.
I mean, that's amazing. It's almost as amazing as Genome's philanthropic giving away of his monetary gain for doing these shows. I'm so passion is such an amazing way. I had no idea I could pay rent with passion. I'm going to start doing that from now on. And I think hopefully all of you have learned that lesson as well.
Haven't you heard, man? People have been trying to sell that to esports talent for years.
Yeah, you should eat on passion. I don't know what passion tastes like, but I don't know if I'm going to find out at any time soon. What a game. What a moment. You know, really going back to game 5, this was more of, it felt like, yes, we had to do this to get the actual results done, but it's rare. We've actually never done this on broadcast where we've played that 6 games. So this is new for us as well. I'm sure it's new for you watching, but now we have our seeds, and what could have happened there is a team getting to match point. The thing is, though, because Falcons won it in 5, it did stop us. It put a limit on a team like, let's just say Yup, or a team like Fluffy Aimers, who would have maybe gotten a match point, would have had that chance. They didn't do it fast enough. And so jumping 7, 8, 9 placement points, it's going to be difficult with only 6 games played. Vicky, as we take a look, top 10 right here, you saw it. Furia got the win. TSM right behind them with Bleed Esports as well. Our back 10 with no Falcons. They got to sit back and watch this game, like the rest of you here standing it in. But I think the biggest thing, Vic, is did we see any changes? That's the thing. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, I don't know if there was enough.
Yeah, well, when we see a game like that, you could see probably teams go for some weird strategies, like inting as if it's their own pub games and trying out something else to maybe farm KP, because KP obviously a guaranteed point, but it is about placement at the end of the day that secures all that extra points that you want to work with, especially if you're a team like C9 waiting on the cusp of his top 12.
You know, passion, all well and good, the players have it, but also there's money for their positions in playing in this pro league. So in terms of the series here today, it's another match day win for Falcons. It's an overall regional finals win on match point for Falcons. It's a 2nd place for NRG. It's a 3rd place for TSM and 4th for Not Moist, 5th for LG. Gino, right on expectations?
Can we just take a moment here to appreciate that they didn't even play out the 6th game and they still had more points than everybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't miss me as well. Falcons, you heard of them? They're pretty good. They know what they're doing out here. And a lot of these other teams, I think they did enough complexity, and team that I was a little worried about in the beginning. Because if they dropped, it could have been a couple of teams jumping them. Temper, Flat, Weave. These were teams, Fluffy Aimers, who needed a big match point win or a 2nd place, 3rd place. Didn't happen. Our top 10 on the left side is essentially our top 10 heading into the overall Mannheim, Germany playoffs. But who will make it officially? Let's find out right now. As your teams for North America are set for Mannheim, your top 10 include TSM, Furia, LG, SSG, Bleed Esports, Liquid Alienware, NRG, Not Moist, Complexity, and of course Team Falcons leading the charge with a win in match point finals. But our next 2, maybe the 2 that we were thinking about on our next page, it's Pioneers and Cloud9. It seems like it was close, Vic. I heard the gasp. But really, they had quite a bit of room between them and Oblivion, who was the next up challenge.
They do. I was sitting on the edge of my seat still because I highlighted C9 still being on that cusp, you know, making sure they did just enough, and they did even more than that. They got some extra credit here to be the final team in North America to qualify for Split 2 LAN.
And look at this. I mean, Gino, we wished, again, for the Cybercats treatment, the moment that a team who is out of our qualification could maybe win a match point finals and do it. It's just one of the hardest things to do. Consistency, you know, it's a real thing in Apex Legends, and it feels like it shouldn't be in a battle royale, but we have an incredible level of consistency for our league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm into fluffy things, but I was certainly cheering for both Cybercats and the fluffy aimers here. I don't know, maybe I just wanted to say hashtag get fluffy more at LAN, something like that, but yeah, sadly they don't make it through.
Well, you know, obviously a lot of teams, their stories in today. It's one of the sad parts about it as we look at tweets saying, looking for team. That might be the end of my journey. I'll see you when I see you. A lot of unknowns for some of these players who haven't made it to Germany. But those who have, well, we know the exact next step. If you're just joining us, though, Falcons with the win. Let's run back the games that happened before and after to result in that W. Vicky, game 4, it would set it up, and it would be NRG continuing to look like, well, there's maybe a chance, but maybe not Moist having their wake-up call at this point, too, to threaten.
Yeah, Not Moist had to remind everybody, aside from the thunderstorms, they still will do their best to prevail through it all. And, you know, starting a little rough there and still being able to secure the dub on top of it. NRG fully dive and ape Liquid in this case, but this also opens up an opportunity for Not Moist to take the time to then wrap around and take some shots at NRG at the very end here. Look at this in the distance between Walty, still going to be able to get that knock. Going to be able to try to get the follow-up here, but this was a really big play from Not Moist because I believe this was the game that they got 12 KP, so this is what set them up in 3rd place, yes, behind NRG, which still highlighted consistency from NRG too.
Heading into game 5, this is the one we called with myself and Tiff. This was it. Falcons would take it. It was, like you said, NRG who had an opportunity, but they just got lost in the sauce. The chaos was inevitable in a zone like this, and Falcons just set themselves up for success. That's one of the things that's so consistent about them in match point. They just find themselves in the right spots to masterclass on how to perform. It's something that Zero and Jin Burton did well. It's something that Hal and TSM did well. And you think, well, could it get better with the three of them together? Yes, it could. It could. 5 games is all it took. And if you were paying attention or you had some time in between games 5 and 6 to browse some streams, they reacted like they had won their first championship ever, their first trophy ever, their first game ever of Apex Legends. It's insane how these guys still have passion after winning everything. But Gino, walk us through that final game that would secure the positions for LAN.
Yeah, well, this one was once again the story of a team who's got a lot of space in the final circle. Furia had a pretty decent game here, and as you can see, a lot of ordnance from both sides coming through. But then as Bleed get forced off, you can see they get caught in that focus of attention, and that makes it really hard as they drop down here. You can see that means the smokes go out super late. They turn around to try and focus on TSM, who's behind them, and the beneficiaries of that are going to be Furia and come away with the win.
And as you can take a look at the kill leaders, I mean, across the board, Falcons are your top 3 kill leaders. Jin Burton's last kill in that last game 5 just pushed him ahead of Sweet and Verholz, who were tied at 72. But Imperial, Hal, Zero, and Jin Burton and all of Team Falcons will be your top 3 kill leaders as well, albeit Hal will win this entire season by quite a lot of kills there. I'm doing quick math. What is that, 15 at least? It seems like it. Incredible stuff there from him. And I think Vicky, you know, this is just a team that was on a mission and they accomplished their mission. It's an exciting thing to see. Sometimes, you know, it maybe feels expected, but it's so hard to do, to set out from the beginning of a season. So many things can happen that can go wrong to stop you from doing what they just did.
Yeah, he just, the IGL shackles have been broken. I can do what I want and frag out the way I want. And you can even hear it in their comms with the way he takes some of those fights. Actually insane to see how heavy he topped the #1 spot for overall kill leader over the course of this Split 2 season.
It's an amazing journey that they've been on. It still continues. And that obviously leads us to our MVP for today, our final day, our regional finals in Split 2. It is none other than the CEO himself. I think he still gets the title after this one. Imperial Hal from Team Falcons. The man led in kills today. Impressive over Jin Burton and Reps, who were second and third. He led in assists as well over Jin Burton and Zero with 16 in his team. But the other thing he led in was damage, by about 1,600 over the next place person, which was fun FPS, actually. It was a dominating performance. And like you said, shackles removed from having to IGL. What does that mean with a player this great to now have less responsibility and more freedom? Well, it means something like this. A top kill leader in North America, the highest kills overall, I think, that we saw across NA and EMEA. But overall, when you look at it, it's just a player who has so much confidence and so much experience. And if they're playing this well, what can stop them? It feels like only himself. Imperial Hal is your MVP for regional finals. And congratulations to him and the squad for taking the dub. Very risky as well. I always say it is a bit risky giving up what you had. Not many people would leave a cushy spot like TSM after all they had done. But he did it. 18 kills, 16 assists, 8K damage. Big shout out to Imperial Hal. MVPs, you know, they're often skewed, genome, by who wins the day, because it is important. You know, if you look at the NBA or most leagues, you don't give an MVP to a losing team typically of that match. But at the end of the day, I mean, this one, winning, losing across this entire season, it's hard to argue, G, with Imperial Hal taking it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we talked to him earlier in the split, actually, and one of the things he said was he's just so competitive that even within the team, he's competing against Jin Burton, he's competing against Zero to get the most damage and the most kills, and that has obviously pushed him to the point where, yeah, he's really doing that. He's fragging out for the team, and even against those other two players, he has outstripped them here in Split 2.
Well, we have a chance to sometimes get a great POV on broadcast, but someone who has a better POV of the ins and outs of what this team is like and what it took to get here is going to speak with us now. We've got the coach for Team Falcon, ZZ, joining us here on broadcast. Nick, welcome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Congratulations on the Falcons win.
Thank you. I mean, look, I got snubbed last time. They said they didn't want to talk to a coach, so I just put in the chat it was going to be me today. I wasn't having anything else. I got robbed last time.
It couldn't have been me. I always love talking to coaches, and you know, at the end of the day, here's the reason why. You have such a unique perspective on the dynamics of Hal and Zero Engine Burton. So talk to people watching and let us know what we might not know about the journey that has taken place behind the scenes to get to this moment, because many people see Super Team, they see the win, and they think that's it. That's all that goes into it. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes to get these types of results.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was obviously not just going to be a plug and play. Hal has been doing what he's doing for years, been one of the top IGLs in the game, and this is not going to be an easy switch for anyone, regardless of how good they are at Apex. Everybody's obviously had to adjust to different roles. Jen keeps bouncing back and forth between having to anchor and frag and play different support roles depending on, obviously, between Sykes and now Hal, he's had to make a lot of changes. And Zero's obviously had to make a couple shifts as well. He's IGLing someone who he's not used to. This is not someone that you can just kind of slam into a spot and say, here, go perform. This is the situation you're given. And I think Hal's done an admirable job shifting the way he's played and really shifting the way that he approaches the game in general, just to be a part of the team. And we're very happy to have him and have someone so willing to put their personal self aside for the sake of winning.
You highlight the personal strengths of why this team is considered a super team. Each of these individual players that have a strength that you don't really see anywhere else within North America or even the other regions. That's why they're so dominating. But talking about these strong personalities, have you had to navigate through any difficulties of not only having to readjust to these new roles, looking at your players, but having to navigate through maybe conversations that may be uncomfortable to help a lot of these players figure out what they need to do differently for the next game, such as when you guys had finished in 6th place for the last match day final?
I mean, look, these are people that have strong belief in themselves, to say the least. And I'm not going to pretend like everything is always smooth sailing, like they always get along. These are very competitive people, and when they have their head set on what they think was right, a lot of the time it was right, regardless of what anybody else says. But like I said, in my response to the last question, these are three people who really want to win. And at the end of the day, they're not going to let something like that get in between them and the ultimate goal. Even if there are bumps along the way, each and every one of them is trying to improve, trying to learn, trying to get better as a team every single time we play, regardless of, how each individual game goes. So long as their heads stay on top of, I want to get better, I want to improve, I want to keep, breaking every record we can, keep trying to be the best team that we can, I don't think there will be any issue long term. I think that as long as they keep their same mindsets, we'll be good to go even with that.
Oh, that's great to hear, Nick, and it's great to have you here because we know that as a team that's doing so well, it's not just the players. Obviously, they've got such a great support staff around them with you and Privacy as well, helping out behind the scenes. I want to hear a little bit about how you guys were navigating the new meta and deciding on legends. You were alluding to it a little bit before because I know during scrims you were bouncing between characters. You were talking about how flexible your teams had to be to try and navigate that. So how did you end up on the legends and the roles that you ended up with today that obviously, you'd have to say was the right choice because you won it in 5, mate?
I mean, look, speak as candidly as possible. I thought Hal was going to be a lot better at Seer, and I thought Jen was going to be a lot worse at Seer. But it turns out Hal's pretty good at Fuse, and Jen's pretty good at Seer. And really, if you were trying to make a lineup of the best 3 characters you could right now, that's how you'd have to stick them together. I mean, anybody that's watched our scrims, not so much on match days, but mainly just watching us burn through different characters, test different stuff in scrims, knows that it's definitely a trial and error process. I mean, nothing ever works out right the first time. But the best thing you can do is try and envision the ideal scenario, the ideal picture, and then try and mold what we have into that. And people have had to bounce around. It's not been consistent the whole time. I wish we could just go, you know, bang, bang, bang. Everybody has their character. Everybody plays it, and it's that easy. But there's some inconsistencies, and sometimes you got to work through them. You got to lose some scrim games, and sometimes you even have to lose some match days. And the only thing that matters is getting to the right answer eventually for the big days, lands, and I guess regional finals as well. And I think we've found our answer, at least for the time being.
Well, it's been a wave that has crashed over the ALGS ever since this announcement was made. This team was built for the one reason, and that is to win. And you guys have. So the only thing next is the journey to Mannheim. Germany coming up very, very soon. We know that you'll be expecting first place, no less. This time with the international community also going back, seeing if APAC North can lift another title or at least challenge for one. It's looking good for you guys, though, as well, Nick. Thank you for taking the time with us. Congratulations on the win. We won't keep you any longer, but good luck as you guys prepare for Mannheim coming up pretty soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right. Thank you, Nick, coach of Team Falcons. And as we say goodbye to Nick, we'll say hello to Tiff, who is back here as we here with our, Rain Days friends, our fun cast today. It's always a pleasure working with you guys. And you know what? At the end of the day, we got to give you our final thoughts, because you know what? This is the last time we're all going to be online before you all see us in Germany. So I'll start with you, Tiff, and we'll go around the horn. Final thoughts on today and your impressions before we let you go and we see you in Germany.
Yeah, of course. Overall, it's been one heck of a day, right? We kicked things off with EMEA that went the distance, and then we moved on over to North America, where the Falcons ended it in 5, which is kind of crazy. And then we get to keep on going. The teams that have secured themselves a ticket in Germany, can't wait to see you there. Can't wait to root for you guys. And hopefully we get a really crazy experience online, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, Tiff, you've been phenomenal today. Thank you so much. It's fun always on a broadcast with you, and we had a lot of fun today as well. We will see you soon. Genome, you joined us here. It was quick. It was in and out. It's a long flight if you're going to do this live. Luckily, this was the online portion. When we see you in Germany, we'll have a lot more time together. But your takeaways after a great day of EMEA and North America action.
Yeah, look, the first 9 games in EMEA were fascinating. They were really exciting. And then we moved over to North America, and it was a very different scenario. And I think when we go into LAN in Germany, into Mannheim, we've heard people say that sometimes, occasionally, the Pro League in North America is harder than at LAN. And, it's because of, the predictability of it. But I can assure you that the Falcons are not going to walk away in 5 games in LAN. I'm putting my bet on that right now, because those lobbies are always harder to navigate, and it's just going to be so much fun to watch and see if this team is really that good when you put all the other best teams, when you put Fnatic against them, when you put Alliance against them. Is it going to be the same story? We'll have to wait and see.
Great tease. APAC represent. They are defending champions, albeit it's APAC North. So, Gino, don't get too excited just yet. But, hey, I mean, APAC North has done a lot in North America, too. We could count 2 of them as with Dark Zero. But thank you, man. It's going to be a great one. Vicky, I'll finish with you. So much fun from last week, joining us late on the broadcast, cutting through Miami traffic. And now, obviously, we're ending it here in EMEA and North America with our regional finals. It's set up a real amazing show that's going to be happening in Germany.
Gotta be Speedy Racer out here. Danke, Rain Day. I cannot wait to see the action playoff in Germany. I'll keep it short and sweet because Tiff and Genome hit it perfectly, especially Genome with the point that even though we saw a dominating performance from Team Falcons, it is a very different experience to compete in person on a stage like that. If you guys have been to a LAN, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You feel the vibration of the crowd when they stomp their feet, when they're clapping, when they're cheering. And we know that these individual performers out here, these players, they are no stranger to the competition in person here too. So you have to keep that composure, and I cannot wait to see how that fares off against the competition from all around the world. I can't wait to see you guys there.
And we can't wait to have you as well. And the fans, we cannot wait to have you as well. We're going to say goodbye to our lovely casters and crew for now. Thank you guys so much. We will see you in Mannheim. For those of you who think you might want to be a part of it, you might want to, you know, high five the crew. You might want to be in the stands, stomping your feet, as Vicky had said, or screaming for your favorite team. Well, check that QR code for all the information on year 4. Open your phone and just scan it right there with your camera app, or go to algs.ea.com and get your event pass for Mannheim, Germany. Grab it now. They usually always sell out. And from August 29th to September 1st, you can join us for what will be a historic run. APAC North trying to defend their title. However, Reject Winity won't be there. So will a new team in that region take control? Will APAC South show us another superstar, one that hasn't moved to North America already? Or will Team Falcons do what everyone has hoped or not hoped that they would do, which is say they're going to win and then win at the end of the day? It's a testament to the hard work that players who have hoisted the trophy more than anyone else in the world ever in Apex Legends are still working just as hard to do it again. I don't know what that says about competition. I don't know if that inspires you or motivates you, but it certainly tells me that there's always a little bit more that I could put into it. There's always a little bit harder we all can work, and there's always a little bit more that we can do to make our lives a little bit different if we don't like where they are. I absolutely appreciate all of you for watching and being a part of this. Make sure to keep track with us at Play Apex Esports on Twitter. Go download Apex Legends on our EA app. It's free, and you can get ready to play with the pros, or at least alongside them at LAN. And to all of our production crew at Esports Engine, all of our talent who are here at the show or at home watching, we love you and we appreciate you. My name's Rain Day, and as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we will see you all in Mannheim.
Here we got